Yes, hey, how you doing? So what's the issue? No, just you can take a look. Just a reminder. Oh yeah, 2 words. Yeah, that's fine. As long as you say that. No, 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 no. It's just like I have when I have first issue. Because it's not, you're not gonna go down the line of you know, I just feel like little 2 words to prompt me. Okay. I want to make sure I don't want to. No, no, you're good. You're good. Okay, thank you, guys. Hey, appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
How we doing? Good. Feeling good? All right. Well, let me know if you need it.
It's on my personal page and then on YouTube. It's this.
That's it.
Test, 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 test. All right, good evening, everyone. We're going to start in just a couple of minutes. So if you know anybody that's coming, tell them to hurry up. And we're also live too, so we're live on Facebook and YouTube. So if you want to share the link, please share the link. All right, everyone. We hope everybody's having a great night tonight. We're about to get started here. Just making sure that we're live.
Straight here, yeah. It's kind of like.
And we are. All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Citrus Live for the 2025 Edinburg Municipal Election Debates. Thank you all for being here tonight and for taking the time to be part of this important community discussion. Thank you all for showing up. Remember, like I said, we are live, so if you don't want to share the link, please share with your community. This is a very important night, guys. Tonight's debate is designed to be fair, balanced, and focused on the issues that matter the most to the people of Edinburg. Would we like to get the candidates come up, please? We got Jason De Leon, Eddie Badillo, and Moises Segovia. Thank you all. All righty. All right, like I said, tonight's debate is designed to be fair, balanced, and focused on the issues that matter the most to the people of Edinburg. Each candidate will have 60 seconds to answer each question, and we ask that everyone respects the time limit so that each voice can be heard equally. All right, so tonight you'll have an opening statement of 2 minutes each, and we'll go through the list right now. But here's a few house rules and guidelines for the audience. Applause and cheering is only allowed at the beginning and the end of each debate segment, not after questions are asked. We will ask for silence. Audience members must remain silent during questions and the candidate responses. And disruptive attendees will be asked to leave. All right, guys. We're good, Jesus. All right, before we begin with tonight's questions, I'd like to give each of you a moment to introduce yourselves to the community. You each have 2 minutes to share who you are, why you're running for office, and what message or vision you'd like the people of Edinburg to hear tonight. So tonight, we'll start with Jason Daniel.
Good evening. My name is Jason De Leon. I have the honor and privilege to serve as your Mayor Pro Tem here in our All-America City. In 2021, I got elected and I made a promise to our community to put our residents first. I was proud to say that we've accomplished so many great things in our community in just one term. I made sure that we led our community with a great team of great council members, our Mayor Emilio Garza Jr. and our City Council Member Dan Diaz. I made sure we led with integrity and we moved our city in the right direction. I'm proud to say that we were able to accomplish so many things in this one term, as far as from new development, from great paying jobs, and improving our drainage and infrastructure. I'm here today to ask for your vote for 4 more years so we can continue that momentum that we've been carrying for the last 4 years. When I first got elected, it was during a challenging time in our community, and I'm proud to say that we have moved this city in the right direction. So I'm here just once again asking for your support and continue that support so we can continue moving this city moving forward. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Badillo.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Edinburg Candidates and I'm your candidate for Edinburg City Council Place 2. First of all, I want to thank God for allowing us to be here this evening. Mr. Morales, thank you for the invitation. And I want to thank you, citizens of Edinburg, for being here this evening, taking time out of your evening to be here with us. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I was born and raised here in Edinburg, and I still live here in Edinburg. I've been married for 23 years to my high school sweetheart. Now we have 3 boys, 3 amazing boys. My daughter-in-law, and today my granddaughter. She's a month old. So her name is Jimena. So let me tell you a little bit about my work experience. I started working as a young man, as a teenager. I worked in the watermelon fields, and we did the whole harvesting and whatnot. And then I went to go work with the Edinburg School District. I worked there for 9 years, and then I went on to work as a detention officer with the Edinburg County Sheriff's Office. About 2.5 years there. Then I became a deputy with the Sheriff's Office. I was a deputy for 7 years, and now I own my own business. I own SkyTech Heating and Cooling. As far as my volunteer services, what I've done for the city, I was a coach for Edinburg Guilty for many, many years, and I was part of the Edinburg Lions Club. So as far as what I bring to the table is, I've been a peace officer for over 12 years, right? And the safety of the community is my top priority. So I just want to make sure that you citizens know that our city police department or fire department are well staffed, and
Thank you, Mr. Lee. All right, Mr. Segovia.
Well, Joshua, thank you so much for the invitation here. Thank you for being our moderator. And of course, thank to Nick and Renee from Citrus in this amazing venue. And everyone that is here. Thank you guys so much for showing up. Everybody that's tuned in live on Facebook. Thank you guys for just listening to us here, candidates, right? My name is Moises Segovia. I'm a father of 4. I have 3 boys, 1 girl. I have a college student right now, a high school senior, a middle schooler, and my daughter's elementary. We believe in giving back to our community. My wife and I, Heather, we own different businesses, from EMS to software companies. And the way we give back is my wife's been part of different boards, different organizations, and I've been also involved in different organizations. I've been honored to receive the Governor's Innovators Award and also Ambassador of the Year for the Edinburg Chamber. I'm a cancer survivor, so I'm a fighter.
10 seconds.
And I know what it takes to go out there, fight for our community, and just want what's best for it. Thank you.
All right. Many Edinburg residents are concerned about property taxes. Do you believe the city should look at lowering or stabilizing the tax rate? And if so, how would you do that without cutting essential city services? We'll go with Mr. Badillo. 60 seconds.
My goal is to stabilize where possible and lower city taxes. Right? I plan to aggressively seek state and federal grants. I believe we should grow revenue through smart planning and not higher rates. So if you ask me about the rate that we have right now, I'd say we need to stabilize it for sure. And cutting essentials. We need the police department, our fire department, our police. They both took a hit. They had a budget cut. So I don't think we should cut any budget to our police department or our fire department. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Segovia.
So the taxes have, the property taxes rate has gone down within a couple of years, but nobody's feeding that. Our appraisals are going up every single year. Even my property has gone up. The appraisal value went up 30,000, 40,000. So we still don't feel that that rate decrease. I would want us to stabilize it at where it's at because the home valuations keep on going up. I think the way we could compensate for that would be through our local Edinburg Chamber. Of course, funding that chamber to be able to help local businesses increase their sales tax revenues. Once they increase their sales tax revenues, we'll have another stream coming in of money and we can utilize that. And of course, we need to make sure we have a good budget and we remove any waste from that budget that we have. Thank you.
All right, Mr. De Leon.
Well, I'm proud since I've been in office since 2021 that we're able to decrease our taxes 5 cents. But the issue that we're going through is that if the other entities, I don't know if any of y'all have actually paid attention to your tax bill, but there's 6 entities that tax you. The issue is that if they're not lowering their taxes and they're raising their taxes, that's why we're feeling as residents the tax burden on us because we're not, we lowered our taxes, but they're raising their taxes. And that's why we're not feeling it as much as we should. But as the city part, we're one of the last ones in there that you see the tax rate. The other entities are a lot higher than us. But I'm proud to say that since I've been in office, we have decreased our tax rate 5 cents. And the goal is to continue improving that. In order to do that, we need to budget correctly. We need to make sure that we skim the fat and we're able to cross-train our employees. That way we're able to give that tax breaks for our residents and moving forward. Thank you.
All right, moving on to the next question. How will you ensure taxpayer dollars are used responsibly and effectively, especially when balancing the need for growth and investment in public infrastructure? We'll start with Mr. Segovia.
So, of course, we do have an internal auditor within the city. The city of McAllen actually has 2 different auditors within that city. I think that's something we should look into. We're a population of over 109,000, maybe getting an extra internal auditor and get away from the external auditors because those cost us money.
maybe having internal auditors to be able to just guide us pretty much at this point. And of course, making sure we are transparent, showing on our website everything that's being spent, getting to the community like you all, doing town halls or different events to let you know what is going on within the city, what we're gonna, spend. Thank you.
All right, we'll go with Mr. De Leon.
I actually disagree with Mr. Segovia on this point. I don't agree that we need an internal auditor. I agree that we need an external auditor to come in, because we all know in business and in life, you build relationships with people when you're working with them. When we bring in an external auditor, we're able to get an unbiased opinion, and they're able to budget our taxes correctly. I strongly believe that it's important for us to get an external auditor. That way there's no bias, and that way we make sure that there's no money's going missing. So I strongly believe that the importance of an external auditor, and since I've been in office, that's what we've been doing. Having a balance in budget is extremely important, and we've been able to do that since I've been in office.
Right.
My priority will be essential service first. The use of cost. Let me rephrase that. First, and use cost-saving technology. I will work closely side by side with department heads and community boards, and be transparent. I know that my opponents, they have a totally different view on what I have, but I believe the view that I have will essentially help our city. Thank you.
We do have a rebuttal for 60 seconds, Moses.
The difference between me and Mr. De Leon is I'm an actual business owner. So I know how it is to pay payroll. I know how it is to manage people and employees. I trust the people and the citizens and the staff members of the city of Edinburg. So I would go and, of course, have internal auditors, because the trust is there. They're going to be able to see our day-to-day, just situations that we have. And I could bring that experience as a local business owner. Because I've been out there. I've been doing this for over a decade. I've been a business owner for over 15 years, and I know what it is to run a business. That's the difference.
All right. Is that your response? Yes. Okay. 60 seconds.
I want everyone to know here in our audience, everyone listening online, you do not need to be a business owner to run for office. I don't care if you're a teacher, a teacher, or any walk of life, an employee. All you need to do is you need to have a big heart. You need to be able to decipher problems. You need to be able to put out fires without creating another fire. That's what you need to be able to run for office. For you to say that you need to be a business owner and that makes you qualified to run for office, I want you all to know I strongly disagree with that. Have a big heart, and I guarantee you, you're going to be able to run for office. Thank you.
All right, moving on to the next question. Would you like to rebuttal as well? Mr. Baidu?
No, I have nothing.
Okay, let's move on to the next question. Earlier this year, families at Canterbury Elementary School faced a serious E. coli contamination issue that made several children sick as a direct result of the March 2025 rain and floods. What lessons should the city take from that, and how will you ensure Edinburg's water and sewer systems are safe, regularly tested, and modernized? We'll go with Mr. De Leon.
So that situation that happened currently this year, that was a 500-year storm. Situations like that normally do not happen. It's important for us to just continue that relationship with the school district. It was an unfortunate situation. We were able to get through it. We were able to make the improvements that we need to get through it. But I want to make this very clear. There is no single city that is bigger than Mother Nature. So we have to go and learn from these experiences in order to improve. This is a one-time thing, a 500-year storm. We've addressed the problem. We've worked with the school district, and I promise you, a problem like this would not arise any further. So I'm proud to say that we were able to address that and work that relationship hand in hand with the school district. I would also like to say that the community has healed from that.
10 seconds.
And we want to continue that process moving forward and keeping that relationship with the school district and improve that situation.
All right, Mr. Badio.
I believe we must modernize the water and sewer lines, increase testing frequently, and ensure faster alerts to the surrounding neighborhoods. And it's just basically to let the citizens of Edinburg and the surrounding neighborhoods around Canterbury know that there's an issue. Now, I can go back and say that this is not, that incident that happened is not the first time, right? So as city leaders, we know that it's not the first time and we need to act on it. We need to act on it as far as replacing drainage lines, replacing sewer lines, replacing what we need to get done. I believe that incident should have never happened if CPUs would have acted on it. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Segovia.
Well, I completely agree with Mr. Rodillo. He does make a good point. Of course, we need more testing. On top of that testing, yes, modernize different drainage lines. But we also need to make sure we have all that information in the city's website and just be more transparent with that. This situation that happened, it's about us being accountable. It's about us saying, hey, you know what, instead of sharing blame, hey, you know what, it's a city's issue, it's a school issue, it's a community issue, right? So we come together and we just own it and we're present and we try to fix it. And thank you.
All right, let's move on to the next question. Recent census data shows that Edinburg is growing faster than McAllen, with a population increase of over 2.6% last year compared to McAllen's slower pace. How should the city manage its growth responsibly, ensuring that our roads, drainage, and neighborhoods can keep up with the Edinburgh's rapid expansion? We'll start with Mr. Badillo.
Can you repeat that, please? I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
I was paying attention to that.
Recent census data shows that Edinburg is growing faster than McAllen, with a population increase of over 2.6% last year compared to McAllen's slower pace. How should the city manage this growth responsibly, ensuring that our roads, drainage, and neighborhoods can keep up with Edinburgh's rapid expansion?
Well, first and foremost, I believe we as city leaders have to have a master plan. There has to be a plan in place that we are going to follow to keep our infrastructure, keep up with our infrastructure. McAllen has slowed down, but Edinburgh is on the grow. And I believe that if we have a master plan in place, we can essentially grow with our infrastructure and grow as a city and home. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Segovia.
I think that we should have a street flooding system, a organization, I guess, that we could count on, and it pretty much this reporting system will consist of the traffic flow, the age of the road, and the overall cost. If we have a corridor that's going to take us, let's say, $3 million to develop, compared to maybe 50 small roads, I would go with the smaller roads. And that we're going to be able to get that information by doing a study and being able to get all that information at that point.
All right, Mr. DeLeon.
I strongly disagree with Mr. Segovia, only because you can't have a committee for everything. The people elect you to make those decisions for you. They elect you to make those choices. We need just to make sure the developers are able to make sure they do the improvements necessary for the project. We need to make sure that they do the lines, make sure we increase the lines of the drainage. Every development that comes in, we're able to make improvements to our drainage system, our infrastructure, and widen the streets. Mobility is extremely important in our city. But every new development, we need to make sure that those developers are accountable. And I'm proud to say that since I've been in office, they've been doing just that. Thank you.
Let's move on to the next question. What is your vision for growing Edinburgh's economy at the neighborhood level, particularly in supporting local small businesses and new entrepreneurs? We'll go with Mr. Segovia.
As a local business owner, of course, I go back to the Chamber of Commerce and the EDC. So supporting our Chamber of Commerce, it would be essential for our small businesses. They already do great work. Ronnie and the staff members there, they just need more resources and more support. That way they're able to help us, our local small businesses.
All right. Mr. De Leon.
Can you repeat the question?
Absolutely. What is your vision for growing Edinburgh's economy at the neighborhood level, particularly in supporting local small businesses and new entrepreneurs?
So I'm truly proud since I've been in office that myself, along with the council, we're able to implement the FLIP program. We're able to give businesses, this is one of them, money so they can do facade to improve the signage from the outside, make certain improvements from whether it's paint, signage, or simple as a patio. We're able to give them monies to, at free of charge, for them to do those improvements for their facilities. I'm proud with a great working relationship with our ADC that we made it a line item every single year to budget $300,000 to $400,000 to give the small business owners monies to do those improvements, and we're gonna continue giving those monies to them as long as I'm in office. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Badillo.
Yes, also as a business owner, I plan to expand small business grants, streamline permits, and create one-stop support center to help startup growth right here in Edinburg. I know it's tough for small businesses to start up, so I agree that we should help the businesses as far as we can as a community. These small businesses in turn bring they bring finances into the city and help keep our taxes down.
10 seconds.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to the next question. Recent data ranks McAllen and surrounding cities, including Edinburg, as the #1 most obese area in the United States. Our region also leads in diabetes rates, and cancer rates are steadily rising across the Rio Grande Valley. How can the city of Edinburg not only expand parks, recreation, and youth programs to promote a healthier lifestyle, but also ensure the real education and public awareness about these health issues reach families and schools across the community? Go with Mr. De Leon.
So we're currently already doing that. We have, our Parks and Rec does an amazing job putting so many events from Hometown Heroes, the triathlon, so many events that they've been doing since we've been in office. We want to continue doing those events. We have a program called the Active Edinburg, and we have been putting monies into that every single year. And I want to continue those programs and keep on adding and adding to it. It's important to keep on increasing the members that keep coming in for the runs. And we've been recently getting our staff involved a lot and giving them certain incentives that if they participate, that we're able to help them out and give them incentives just for participating in these programs. Our Parks and Rec does an amazing job, and since I've been in office, I've been nothing but supportive for all the hard work that they do.
Mr. Badillo.
Yes, this is a good question. I believe that, and I agree with Mr. Leon, Parks and Recs have been doing a great job. I also believe that we can do better as far as upgrading our parks, more sidewalks. I know we're due for some ADA sidewalks as well, which can be used by the citizens of Edinburg. But I believe with these programs that the Parks and Rec has have really been helping out the citizens of Edinburg as far as the walking and then the 5Ks that have been coming out. So yeah, I really like the progress that they've been doing in that, and I hope we keep going. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Segoya.
There's no doubt that Edinburg Parks and Rec has been doing a tremendous job. Absolutely. We have Javier and Mr. Molina there doing amazing things. And these are the result of having good people in good positions. And yes, they've been active, we've been active with them, and they've been active and doing a lot of great things. Of course, they still need a lot more resources. They still need more support. And one of the things that I recently talked about, and of course, this is something, an idea that I had. Of course, I'm gonna go in there. I'm not gonna just say, this is my idea, I'm gonna get it done. And, but I want to try. So I did have an idea of having a place here in the city of Edinburg called Camp Edinburg, where we could just be with our kids outdoors in this, this amazing place. And we could, I guess, be outdoors better, right? So, yeah.
Thank you. All right, next question. How can the city ensure that growth and economic opportunities are spread fairly across all districts, not concentrated in only one part of Edinburg? We'll start with Mr. Badillo.
I'm sorry, what was that?
How can the city ensure that growth and economic opportunity are spread fairly across all districts, not concentrated only in one part of Edinburg?
Well, we have to, as a business owner, we have to make, let me see. So as a business owner, we have to distribute. I didn't catch that last part. I'm sorry.
No, you repeat it, yes.
Yes.
How can the city ensure that growth and economic opportunity are spread fairly across all districts, not concentrated only in one part of Edinburg?
So yeah, so I believe, so right now it's concentrated in this, inside the city, right? Inside in Midtown. So we have the courthouse and we have different venues coming up. So we're concentrating in right in the center of Edinburg. So we need to focus on more on distributing the growth as far as small businesses and getting us to support those kind of businesses. And that's that.
All right, Mr. Segovia.
Growth can't be one-sided. We can't just focus on the south side or on one specific side, let's say the west side. We do have the Vaqueros football, right? And they're on the east side. So of course, we naturally can start growing that area a lot better. And of course, we still have all the way to the county line. We have all the north side to grow. So this city of Edinburg has so much opportunity, and I want to be able to help lead it.
All right, Mr. De Leon.
I strongly believe that in order for us to be fair around the board for every single school district, we need new development. One of the things that we've been implementing since I've been in office is we have the development of these the subdivisions, but in front we put a commercial plaza right in front. So that gives the community more amenities. That gives the school district more students to their campus. But most importantly, it gives everyone an opportunity to grow the tax dollars, but also build up the infrastructure of the surrounding communities in that area. Since I've been in office, we're blessed that we put a water tower on the north side of Edinburg. That is gonna spark the development for years to come. And that was the reason why we implemented that when I was in office. And we're gonna continue that development going on the north side, east side, west side, and the south side. Thank you.
All right, let's move to the next question. Downtown Edinburg has the potential to become a thriving hub. What specific actions would you take to help revitalize the downtown area and attract new investments? We'll go with Mr. Segovia.
Of course, you know, we all know this. We have amazing. We have the university. We have Vaqueros football, and of course, we have the county seat right here in the downtown area. One of the ideas, of course, I did have is creating a downtown revitalization committee. And of course, what better person? There's no better person than Mr. Nick Antu. Look at what he made here. This amazing venue, and it's all been just him, his personal money, and he has society to afford. So we need to embrace these entrepreneurs that have brought so much to our city and bring them to the table and just help us lead this direction here in the downtown area and bring more businesses or different things that we could bring. Thank you.
All right, Mr. De Leon.
Since Mr. Segovia did not answer the question, the issue that we have downtown here is that 107 is not owned by the city. It is owned by TxDOT. So the challenges that we've been facing here in our city is that we don't own the street. It's hard to get things done. I've always said that it's one fire at a time in order to get things done. Yes, we do have the county courthouse here, but we need to improve the infrastructure here in our city. It is slated for the end of 2026 with TxDOT and Precinct 2 to get the improvements done. But in order for us to truly get downtown where we need to be, we need to get those improvements on our drainage first, and then we're able to implement the businesses that are coming in. We do have projects in the pipeline already in work for a new home entertainment, family entertainment for our community. It's just important for us to get that infrastructure improved first before we go any further.
Mr. Badillo.
Yes, downtown can thrive again with culture events, walkable spaces, and small business incentives. With small business incentives, I will push the balance as far as zoning and target investments under several areas that will attract employers. And this applies to citywide. That's all I got.
Thank you. All right, move on to the next question. Public safety and response times are constant concerns. How would you ensure that our police, fire, and EMS departments are properly funded, well-staffed, and trusted by the community? We'll go with Mr. Badillo.
Again, as I said at the beginning, my priority is keeping the city safe. As a first responder, we should be equipping our police, fire, and EMS with training and resources, making sure that our citizens feel protected. We want to make sure that our police officers, they're well trained, and that they have the equipment and upgraded equipment that can take care of the calls that they will be responding to. Having units, I know we got, I believe, 10 new units coming, and I believe we need 10 more units coming, just to shorten our response time. And as for me, as a first responder, I know that it's very important
10 seconds.
to show up when families are either domestic violence calls or whatnot. Thank you.
Mr. Segovia.
So I'm a first responder. I have an EMS service, and I've been in that industry for a very long time. And of course, one of the things that I've heard from different fire department or police department is they need more resources. They need more resources, and I think that's something we need to go look into with them. And of course, a community outreach policing program, which is COP, right? And just utilizing those programs a lot better, having those police officers going out there to neighborhoods of colonias, meeting these people in around where they live, and I think that'll be great for the entire community. Thank you.
Mr. De Leon.
Since I've been in office, I'm proud to say that our Edinburg Police Department are the highest paid police officers in Hidalgo County. So the next 4 years, I want to make sure that we maintain their pay and increase it as we go further. If anyone has ever been through a media convert, it's very challenging. They ask for a lot of demands, they ask for a lot of things. We work hand in hand with the police department to make sure we are able to meet their needs. At the end of the day, they want resources, but they also want their paycheck to reflect their hard work. And I'm proud to say that since I've been in office, we've been able to do that.
We've actually.
I'm sorry?
Oh,
Were you in rebuttal?
Yeah.
Okay.
So since Councilmember got into office, they actually lowered the budget for both police and the fire department. And that's something we can't do. The city's growing, 109,000 population, and we can't be lowering these very essential departments at all. The city's going to continue growing, so we need to continue growing that budget with them. That way, like I said, they have the resources and the pay that they need to stay here, not want to leave to somewhere else.
Mr. De Leon.
Yes, what Mr. Segovia said is slightly true. We lowered their wants, not their needs. It's important for us to maintain a budget. So a lot of the wants that they need, we worked hand in hand with them. We met all of their needs. Some of the wants, there's a give and take in everything in life. If you've never balanced a budget, it's extremely difficult. You're dealing with 1,000 employees, you're dealing with a city budget. We wanted to make sure your taxes are lowered. So do I take back being fiscally responsibly? I do not take that back. We lowered some of the wants, but at the end of the day, we want to make sure our police officers get what they want. And the one thing that they always ask for is higher pay. And I'm proud to say that we've been able to deliver that.
Thank you. Please hold your applause to the end. Let's move on to the next question. Some neighborhoods feel underserved or left behind. What would you do to make sure city services and infrastructure improvements reach all areas equally? Well, Mr. De Leon.
Can you repeat that?
Absolutely. Some neighborhoods feel underserved or left behind. What would you do to make sure city services and infrastructure improvements reach all areas equally?
New development. When the new subdivisions come in, we want to make sure that these developers are doing the proper increases in their utilities, the infrastructure, widening roads. Most people think that the biggest complaint that we get is drainage, and that's absolutely false. The biggest complaint we get is traffic flow. So when these developers come in, we want to make sure they make the proper widen the lanes, the right turn lanes to keep that traffic moving forward. You cannot improve drainage. It's called mobility. If you're going to improve the street, you have to improve the drainage. And the one thing I'm proud of since we've been in office, we've been holding these developers accountable to improve the drainage, widen the streets, and making sure the sidewalks are properly done for every single development.
Thank you.
Can you repeat that, please?
Absolutely. Some neighborhoods feel underserved or left behind. What would you do to make sure the city services and infrastructure improvements reach all areas equally? Mr. Badillo.
So we have to go back, and I say there's always has to be a master plan, right? So we have to have a plan where we're gonna reach every neighborhood, not just the new neighborhoods coming up. And we have to stick to that plan, and we have to see where we're gonna be with that plan in 5, 10, 20 years from now. So there always has to be a master plan to see where we're gonna go as far as serving our community. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Segovia.
I think a lot of us have felt unheard one way or another right here in the city of Edinburg. When my house flooded, I felt unheard. Nobody heard me. Nobody did anything about it. We had to take our own kids out and do everything ourselves, and it's unfortunate, right? But it happened. And now with that in mind, of course, having a ranking system of the worst possible neighborhoods or streets, and for us to be able to account for the cost and everything in that ranking system, and we just go from, I guess, from the worst one all the way to the least worst, and just try to support our neighborhoods.
Thank you. By the way, guys, we have these little slips on your chairs. If you don't mind filling them out, we need some really good information off this, so just leave them there. It's anonymous, by the way. Let's move on to the next question. Many residents say they feel unheard or disconnected from city leadership. As a council member, how would you make yourself accessible and ensure open communication with your constituents? Well, Mr. Segovia.
So for me, like I said, I felt unheard, right? So I know that perspective. What I would want to do for a community, of course, having some kind of quarterly meetings with the community, doing that on my own time, with my own funds, in different locations throughout the city, and just being accessible and being able to do lives on social media and just communicate with the community like that as well. Because, you know, on social media, I think we could reach a lot of people through that. So yeah, I would make myself a lot more accessible for our community.
Mr. De Leon.
I'm proud since we've been in office. we've been implementing and pushing for the 311 app. So those of you who have any concerns, we always ask our residents to go out there, download the app, 311 app. You're able to take a picture of your concern and it timestamps it. From there, feel free to give me a call. I am extremely proud that I've had one cell phone my whole life. And the one thing that the funeral industry taught me working in my family business right there in Memorial Funeral Home on Canton Road, that you answer your phone at all hours of the day. I'm proud to say that I've had one cell phone my whole life, and that number is 956-279-1935. So if you have a concern, I always tell our residents, go to the 311 app, type in your concern, and then from there call me, and then I will follow up for you. And I'm proud to say that I've been doing that for the last 4 years since I've been in office.
Thank you. Mr. Vadillo.
Okay, first of all, I know when Mr. De Leon got elected, I believe we were having community outreaches and we were having city hall meetings. I believe that we need to keep not only the first couple of months, right, but we need to keep going with city hall meetings. We need to reach a community. Now, I say city hall meetings, and that's a start, right? But I believe that we need to have meetings with the community outside the city hall, right? Reach out to the communities, reach out to the communities that have a high crime rate, right? So listen to these citizens to see what the need is. That's all I got.
All right. Let's move on to the next question. The Rio Grande Valley is facing serious water shortages, as many cities are warning of rising water bills in the near future. As a council member, what specific steps would you take to help ensure Edinburg maintains reliable access to water while keeping costs affordable for residents and businesses? Well, Mr. Badillo.
Yes, first of all, we have to make sure that our city water is, protected, I would say, in a way. But yeah, we need to have in place different resources. We can't just fall short of our city being short of the water resources. So I would suggest a plan to reach out to our sister cities and make a plan together with city leaders, just to make sure that we do have access to city water for our residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Segovia.
So I'm not in there yet. So I wouldn't understand how to answer this question. And I'm just being honest with you. But once I get in there and I evaluate as a business owner the situation that we have, then I will come back and I'll go ahead and answer this question to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm proud to say that I don't need any training from day one on my next term. I'm proud to say that we're already implementing restrictions in our community by limiting some of the car washes. Even though they do a lot of the recycling of the water, we started limiting some of the water consumption by limiting how many car washes we have coming into our city. Another thing is we're working with the drainage district on new ways to implement waters. Last week I met with them hand on hand on partnering with them and implementing new ways to create new waters for our community. And we're actively working on that right now. And I'm extremely proud of the progress that we've made with the drainage district and with the county commissioner for Edinburg.
Thank you. Next, we got up 2 more questions before we finish off the segments, and these are community questions. All right, many residents say rapid growth has reduced green space and parks. The current fee in lieu of system allows developers to pay a fee instead of dedicating land for parks. Do you think this policy strikes the right balance between development and maintaining quality parks? Or should Edinburg require developers to contribute more directly to public green spaces? Well, Mr. De Leon.
One thing that I've learned since I've been in office is the art of compromise. These developers are coming in, their prices are going up. We're trying to keep more residents in our community. We need to lower the price of the lots. We need them to be able to feel comfortable building. There's a give and take in everything in life. public office is like a marriage. There's a give and take. You got to work with each other. So there's certain restrictions. The cost of land is the reasons why certain things you have to give certain areas different leeway compared to if you go to the west side or the east side. But the goal is we need rooftops. If we bring more rooftops, it brings tax dollars. It improves our parks just by the rooftops. We're able to continue implementing new improvements in our city. One of the things that we did this year alone is that we added restrooms at the Memorial Park. I'm extremely proud of that. I'm extremely proud that we invested in our turf fields. We have state-of-the-art turf fields in our great city of Edinburg.
Thank you. Mr. Vadillo.
Can you repeat that, please?
Of course. Many residents say rapid growth has reduced green space in parks. The current fee in lieu of system allows developers to pay a fee instead of dedicating land for parks. Do you think this policy strikes the right balance between development and maintaining quality parks? Or should Edinburg require developers to contribute more directly to public green spaces?
I believe we should hold the developers accountable and have them free up more space. We need to keep our green. We need to keep our trees. I know that there's some businesses, some apartments, some houses that they require, or businesses that they require you to put some trees and to put some shrubs and to put different kind of greenery. So yeah, I believe that the developer should free up some space for trees. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Segovia.
Of course, we need the developers to free up some space. For me, on my campaign contribution, I don't have any developers that are funding my campaign, so I don't owe anyone anything, or builders or any businesses that do business with the city. So I would put them accountable and make sure they free up some green space. And I'm always going to be a representative and an advocate for the people. And if they want more free spaces or green spaces, that's what we're going to give the people, instead of just having the developers trying to just pay their way out of another thing, compared to paying politicians and paying everything that they want to pay. They want to pay off green spaces. That's not right. Thank you.
Can I respond to that?
Absolutely.
Since I was elected in office in 2021, we had 100,000 residents. We were able to increase it in just 4 years, 9,000 residents. There's a give and take in everything in different areas. But if we're able to work hand in hand, work with the developers, work with their needs, work with the prices, we're able to bring more residents into our community. If we bring new residents in our community, we're able to maintain our tax rate, we're able to bring new businesses, and we're able to keep that development going. And I'm proud to say we have 9,000 residents additional in our city since I've been in office. Thank you.
All right, let's move over to the next question. As new neighborhoods and schools open, areas like Davis Road are seeing heavier congestion and delayed emergency access. How would you improve traffic flow, pedestrian safety, and emergency response while the city continues to expand? We'll go with Mr. De Leon.
Part of the, you're talking about on Davis Road?
Any road that gets highly congested, you can go through that.
So part of my platform for my next term is mobility. We need to have more right turn lanes only. We need to be able to keep that traffic flow going, whether it's traffic lights, whether it's adding additional lanes. We need to start widening our streets. If we widen the streets, we're able to improve the drainage. It goes hand on hand. These developers, when they come in, they are required to do the necessary improvements to keep the streets improved. Not only that, we're also making sure when they do a development, it improves the neighboring communities around us. That's why we keep on pushing development residents to come into our office, but we want to make sure these developers do the necessary improvements to improve the whole neighboring communities.
Thank you. Mr. Vadillo.
Yes, so I agree with widening the streets. We've driven through school zones and that traffic can be heavy, right? So I strongly support widening the streets. Sidewalk is a big plus. And we also need to realize that with widening streets and with the growing demand, we need to keep up with the infrastructure. We can't forget about the infrastructures. Now, we can say widening streets, but I think we need to take care of our damaged streets for now. But yeah, widening streets in those areas would be ideal. Thank you.
Mr. Segovia.
Yes, Eddie. We have, of course, like Chapin Road, Wisconsin Road. You know, those are important streets, or those are streets that we can utilize and widen and make sure that we utilize them, right? Of course, not only that, but on big corridors, we should be able to put some smart signals, signal lights, and that way it doesn't, because it shouldn't just be one intersection. These smart, of course, is gonna, we could retrofit these smart signal lights, but if we could do that for a whole corridor, then it's gonna be able to move the traffic a lot easier, because then they'll be able to communicate with each other and make sure the flow is continuous. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, candidates. We covered a lot of ground tonight, from infrastructure to growth to transparency, public safety, and the future of Edinburg. So now for our final question. You each have 2 minutes to share any closing thoughts you'd like to leave with the people of Edinburg. Those here in attendance and those watching online, this is your opportunity to speak directly to the voters about your vision, your values, and why you believe you're the right person to lead Edinburg forward. Go with Mr. Vadillo.
Yes, first of all, thank you guys for being here. It's always a pleasure to speak in front of our citizens. So we have early voting coming up, right? So I go out there and vote, right? I ask for your support, for your vote. But all these changes, everything that we want to do, we can't do them, well, I can't help you until I get elected, right? So I ask for your vote so I can make a change. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Segovia.
Again, my name is Moises Segovia. I want to put people over politics, basic. And it goes back to my values: faith, family, hard work, and service to others. I believe we should always put our people of our community first. That's what I plan to do the next 4 years. And the good thing about me is that I'm going to be able to have 4 years to get things done. And if God gives me a chance to serve another 4 years, I would have a total of 8 years committed to you all, committed to the community. So I'm not only going to have 4 years, I'm going to have a total of 8 years if I do things correctly the first 4 years and get reelected the second time around. So I'm here to stay. I'm here to be a representative for you and our community. And remember, I have Facebook. It's called Moises Segovia for Edinburg City Council. I have a website, voteformoises.com, and early voting starts Monday. So make sure you go out there early, all the way to October 31st, election day, November 4th. I hope I could earn your support and your vote this election. Thank you.
Mr. De Leon.
I'm proud, since I've been elected in 2021, that I've given our community a consistent product, a stable product, and consistency. In order to keep a community thriving, you need those qualities to keep a community moving forward. You need to be able to bring our community together, learn the art of compromising. It's a learning curve when you get elected. I was naive too. I used to think, like my opponent, Mr. Segovia, that I had all the answers. You learn very quickly that you got to convince other council members to learn and think like you. It's not that easy. You learn the art of compromising. I'm proud to say that I got elected with great people. I got elected with people who we could work together. It's not easy running an office, but I was able to learn so much from my first term. I'm running again to complete the projects that we have in our pipeline. I want to make sure that those projects continue moving forward. When I get elected this next 4 years, there's no training for me. I'm ready to go for you all. And my name is Jason De Leon. I want each and every one of you to know that I've been working for you for the last 4 years. And when I get reelected again, I'm going to continue working for you. May God bless you, and may God bless America.
All right, guys, let's give a round of applause to all our candidates. Thank you all so much. We're going to take a quick break online. We'll be right back in about 15 minutes. to the Citrus Live for the 2025 Edinburg Municipal Debates. Thank you all for being here tonight, for taking part in this important community event. Like I said earlier, this event is meant to be fair, balanced, and focused on the issues that matter the most to the people of Edinburg. Like I said earlier, each candidate will have 60 seconds to answer each question, and we ask everyone respect the time limits so that each voice can be heard equally. If a candidate is directly addressed during a response, that candidate will be given 60 seconds for a rebuttal. Like I said earlier, we'll have 2 minutes for the opening statements. Each question asked will have 60 seconds for rebuttals, and we'll also have 2 minutes for the closing statements. All right, let's get up the candidates. Mr. Dan Diaz and Smiley Martinez. Welcome to the stage. All right, we ask everyone to stay quiet, please. All right, before we begin tonight's questions, I'd like to give each one of you a moment to introduce yourselves to the community. You each have 2 minutes to share who you are, why you're running for office, and what message or vision you'd like the people of Edinburg to hear tonight. This is your opportunity to speak directly to the voters and tell them what drives you, what matters most, and what kind of leadership you hope to bring to the city of Edinburg. Mr. Diaz, we'll start with you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Dan Diaz. I am your city commissioner in place 1. I'm honored to serve in that role. I'm honored what I've brought to the table for the city of Edinburg. My background is in public service. I like to say a lifetime of service. I was a combat veteran, Big Red 1, went to Desert Storm. I'm a civilian paramedic. I became an ER nurse. I worked all 3 waves of COVID at McAllen Medical Center. And I'm a business owner, 26 years of my own EMS company. I was elected in 2021, blessed to get elected with great people. And I feel that we brought a lot of positive energy to City Hall. At a time that there was instability, there was negativity, I felt I had something to serve. I felt I could do something to better our city and our community. I moved here right after the military. As a single man, I worked tirelessly in EMS. I was able to coach Little League for many years. I served on the Edinburg Parks and Rec Board. I served on the EDC board. I served on the Medical Advisory Board. I knew that one day I would live in Edinburg if the Lord blessed me with a family. I have a lovely wife that's here in the audience and a 14-year-old son born and raised here in the city of Edinburg. I'm proud to call this city my home. And I jumped in the race 4 years ago to see what I could do to make things better. I'm running again for re-election because there's a lot of work to be done. We've done a lot of great things. I'm so excited to talk about everything we've accomplished.
10 seconds.
And I'm looking for your support to continue another 4 years. Thank you.
Mr. Martinez.
Thank you, and good evening. Good evening, Commissioner Diaz. I want to thank this lovely venue, which is full circle for me when I was a young boy coming to the movie theater here and watching movies on the weekends. When we came back from working 6-7 days a week, we'd come in the afternoons and spend our times here in this theater. Amazing. It's incredible. So happy to be here. I am Ismael Smiley Martinez. I am a lifelong resident of the city of Edinburg. However, that doesn't make me qualified to be on the city council. And the reason I say that is because, like Mr. Diaz, other people have chosen to come and migrate and move to Edinburg. They've chosen this city. They have become residents of Edinburg. We are now the minority, those of us that have been here all our lives. So our goal, when we get elected onto the city council, is to represent every single one of you, which we're now close to 109,000 in population. So the goal is to not just listen to you, however, hear you and represent you and work tirelessly, because this is not a part-time job. Priority.
10 seconds.
You need to be able to work closely with everyone, and let's just get along. Let's represent the community better.
Thank you. All right, let's get started with the questions. Many Edinburg residents are concerned about rising property taxes. Do you believe the city should look at lowering or stabilizing the tax rate? And if so, how would you achieve that without cutting vital services? Mr. Martinez.
Well, that's a very interesting question. Me being a insurance agent for almost 29 years now, owning my own agency, dealing with homeowners, understanding that property values go up. And it is nothing that we have any control over as a city. This is a increase that comes from the appraisal system in the state, comes down to the local county system. Now, as a city, we do have some options, and we need to engage aggressively with the taxing entities and not just negotiate for our taxpayers in the city. However, we need to engage with these other people, these other entities, and try to mitigate the increase. There's some great programs that I've heard some of the other candidates that are talking about that we should explore and we should promote, and we need to be aggressive, we need to be proactive, and we need to not just listen to the taxpayers, but we need to be engaging and hear them and be able to take advantage of those programs. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Diaz.
I am proud to say that in my first term, we have lowered the tax rate by 5 cents. When we got into office, it was at 68 cents. Now it is at 63 cents. This was an effort to complete all the requests that are needed for our budget. This wasn't an easy thing. It was a couple cents every year. And today, our tax rate, the last time it was this low was 1991. This last budget session, we voted to maintain it at 63 cents. We really wanted to lower it, but it's a very, very tight budget. COVID monies have run out. ARPA monies have run out. We all know during COVID, there was all kinds of help and efforts to stimulate the economy. And now we had to work with the real numbers and a real budget. And I'm happy to say that we have a balanced budget at that rate. And I'm proud of all the work that city staff and everyone had put in to maintain our tax rate to 1991 levels. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, flooding continues to affect neighborhoods across Edinburg. What is your long-term plan to improve drainage and stormwater systems citywide? Mr. Diaz.
As we know, flooding is a constant issue. It is not a city of Edinburg issue. It is not a city of McAllen issue. It is a regional issue. We have to look at flooding region-wide, because if we do flooding projects, detention ponds, upgrades, and the next city on our side does not do that, we're still going to flood. The water flows from west to east, so it takes a concerted effort to make it happen. Proud to say that in the past 4 years, our projects have helped nearly 10,000 residents, and over 1,000 acres have been improved. I can speak of Santa Maria Street, Thompson Street. La Galera had the worst streets in the city when White got into office. We took charge of that project. They have the best streets. They have mailboxes. The same thing with Santa Maria on the east side. And they had nothing but dirt roads. And we've improved all that. But there's always work to be done. And I look forward to continue the flooding issues in the projects the next 4 years.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez.
Yes, I agree with what Commissioner Diaz has just said. This is not just a city problem, it is a regional problem. And we have sister cities that we need to be aggressively engaged with and participating in cost sharing. Not just that, but the taxing entities. They're willing to tax our taxpayers, our citizens, and yet they have no skin in the game. Well, they need to be brought to the table, and we need to negotiate with them to help us with the relief of funding. Okay, because we don't have unlimited funds. We don't have a bridge that brings in $6 million a month like other cities. We don't have a $600 million a month working budget annually. We have $165 million. So there's a lot of shortages, a lot of shortfalls, and we need help, and we need to engage aggressively looking for funds and getting people to participate in cost sharing with these programs. It can't just be our taxpayers. We can't do it on our taxpayers, our retail business taxpayers either, on sales taxes. We need to be more aggressive.
Thank you. All right, let's move to the next question. Street repairs and infrastructure upgrades are constant needs. How would you decide which projects should take priority? Mr. Martinez.
That's a very interesting question. We heard earlier that there should be a list of worse than to less than. And you know what? That's a very good concept, unfortunately. Because we live in a constant weather changing environment here in the Rio Grande Valley, projects take time. They're not done overnight. They're not done in short terms. A lot of these plans for future growth it takes time to repair. And so we need to focus on the most needful areas and get those done, hold these people accountable that are supposed to do these projects and get them in on time. And we need to be properly staffed so that if we do those in-house, we have the people that can do these things. So we need to be more proactive and more aggressive with that.
10 seconds.
And it's just, it's a big problem that we don't have the money to do all at once.
Thank you. Mr. Diaz.
Actually, we have a $3 million budget every year to address our streets. Councilman DeLeon touched on it. The 311 app is the first thing that I tell residents that call, ask, I run into. The 311 app is your first line to date stamp, create a file, and highlight an issue. If you're not app savvy or you don't want to do that, call City Hall you can also report it on our website. What that does is initiates a process. The team comes out for Public Works, evaluates your streets. There's a whole scoring sheet, and based on those scores, they put it on the spreadsheet. And if you have the highest score, that sets the priority of the street. Not only do they look at overlays, they look at repaving depending on the severity of the streets. I'm also proud to say that there's a new tool called the asphalt zipper that completely changes how we address these streets.
10 seconds.
It's going to last, the repairs last 5 to 7 years compared to just a few rains when we're fixing potholes. Thank you.
May I respond, please?
Yes, 60 seconds.
And I understand the 311 protocol and all these other reporting. Okay, it doesn't do us any good to report it after the fact. What we need to do is be proactive and prevent it. Keep these streets repaired, keep them maintained so that we don't have these issues. You know, trying to respond after the fact, well, that's just not good enough. We need to be ahead of the curve. We need to repair these streets, maintain them. However, we need to have the proper staff. We're understaffed in every department. So we can't do that. So 311 is wonderful to report stuff for future possibility of events, but we need immediate attention to these problems, and waiting and reporting them is not going to solve the issue that's at hand when the weather changes and
10 seconds.
Thank you.
Can I respond?
Go ahead, 60 seconds.
Okay, so I think it's a discredit to the staff to say that they are understaffed. The people we have work very, very hard. I'm very proud about everything they've done. We do everything to meet their budgets and even mid-year appropriations. We do everything to address if there's a shortfall in any department. It could be in asphalt, it could be in anything. The other thing that we need to do is when there's developments, we need to hold these developers accountable when they don't do the job correctly. In the past, it's fallen on the city because of issues with contracts, and we need to make sure that that happens. Unfortunately, in a growing city, there will always be road improvements. You can go to Houston, you can go to all the big metropolitan areas, they never finish. And it's a constant job. We need to always do our best and try and make sure that when they do the streets, the new developments, it's always up to code.
Thank you. Let's move on to the next question. Traffic congestion has become a growing frustration for residents and businesses. What practical steps would you take to improve road flow and connectivity across the city? Well, Mr. Diaz.
Road flow is all about traffic counts and safety. You need to evaluate what areas have the congestion, evaluate the areas that have increased accidents. It takes a complete traffic warrant study that TxDOT has to approve. A lot of people don't realize that just to get a traffic light in place, it takes a warrant. You have to warrant the need, and it takes more than 9 months to get a street light. The cost of one street light, I was surprised to find out, it's almost $300,000 for a street light because of all the infrastructure, TxDOT, it just takes a long time. We need to make sure that we follow all the traffic patterns and make sure we have the budget and the vision to increase the roads, widen roads. It takes a lot of right of way.
10 seconds.
Realize what the arteries are and where we need to address our needs.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez.
Yes, when we've spoken to different citizens, and I've experienced it myself in speaking to the police officers, it's been a long time since we've had a traffic study on our lights. Many times, I'm sure all of you are here that have experienced this on many of our intersections. When we get in the left turn lane, the light turns green. Before you get through the lane, it's already yellow. And, you find the people behind you and then trying to gun it and get through. Well, it's been a long time since we've done a traffic study, and traffic flow is how we manage that with traffic studies. We figure out, we redo the programming on these traffic lights. City of Elotes has done some amazing things with the way they keep the traffic flow. Now, that is a long-term project. It's pie in the sky. However, we need to do the study now so that we can figure out the right now need to correct it and then start planning for the future. We need to have a plan to improve the traffic because it's very, very dangerous out there.
Respond to that, please.
Absolutely, 60 seconds.
Right now, our street department evaluates traffic flow and traffic counts every day. If there's a resident that has an issue, they take it into their work schedule, and you've seen the city of Edinburg vehicles parked at intersections. They're looking at traffic flow. They adjust this every other day by the needs that are requested from citizens. It's not something that just happens randomly, but it is most of the time resident initiated. So if you do have an issue, call City Hall. Another thing we implemented on our business cards, there's a Q code in the back and it goes straight to City Hall. Call anyone there, reach out to me, and we'll get somebody there to evaluate any intersection that has an issue.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to the next question. What is your vision for growing Edinburg's economy, particularly when it comes to supporting small businesses, local entrepreneurs, and startups? Mr. Martinez.
Very good question. I have been to several ribbon cuttings and I've seen the great job that our Chamber of Commerce does, and I've seen some of the other projects that Edinburg Economic Development Corporation has been partnering in bringing in different programs and businesses into the community. My question to the director of the Chamber of Commerce was, what happens after the ribbon cutting and all the balloons and the picture takings and way to go happens afterwards? What happens? And he says, I don't understand. I go, well, what do we do as a city, as a administration, as a Chamber of Commerce and EDC? What do we do to help promote that business and other businesses to be able to keep their doors open and drive business into their customers, into their businesses, so that their tax dollars are able to be generated? And what do we do to attract these people and stay here if we don't participate in partnerships with them and marketing them?
Thank you. Mr. Diaz.
Our Edinburg Chamber of Commerce has won Chamber of Commerce of the Year, year after year after year. They do great work. I'm happy to say that before I got on council, I was on the Edinburg Economic Development Council. I championed the project that funds small downtown businesses, mostly on the east side. It's called the Facade Block Improvement Program. FLIP is the acronym. This is a $10,000 grant to improve parking lots, to improve facades, and it has had a great impact on all the small businesses in the area, especially on the east side. To this day, we have helped 80 businesses in the last 2 years. It is now a budgeted item, $400,000 a year for 40 businesses. That's $10,000 grants. We need to do those things to revitalize and make downtown look cleaner, make it look better, along with the infrastructure upgrades that comes. That's the way you keep them going. You incentivize businesses that we don't have, and you always try to get first in market here in Edinburg.
Thank you. Let's move on to the next question. What should Edinburg be doing right now to attract good paying jobs and keep local businesses thriving? Well, Mr. Diaz.
To get good jobs, you have to have good training. We have the university here, but you also have to have the CTE programs. There's a lot of work for non-4-year degree jobs that pay 6-figure salaries. You have to have the right people, and you have to attract the businesses. One of the biggest things that I'm very proud of that we did through the EDC was bring Zoho. This is a worldwide company that's in 9 different countries. Their main hub will be in the center of Edinburgh at the historic Gecko. One of the reasons that they liked the Valley initially was going to be in McAllen was because of UTRGV. There's a lot of talented youth here, a lot of young people here. And so we've got to attract manufacturing jobs, CTE jobs, plumbing, welding. There's a lot of great opportunities, but we have to get those businesses here in the city of Edinburgh for them.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez.
Yes, absolutely. We need to work with the university. However, we also need to work outside the university and partner with our school districts because not everyone is cut out to get a college education. Many of them can't afford it. Many of them are not looking for a college education. They have different skills. So we need to develop those skill sets for those individuals because there's a lot more labor intense type of manufacturing that you can still make a great living. I have a brother who retired from a major corporation in Detroit, Michigan, never got a degree, retired, doing very well. So it's not always about having the best education, it's, being able to get a good job. So we do need to attract more manufacturers, more technology companies, because that's where it's going to. So we have to have a sound foundation of
10 seconds.
Inventory of potential employees. So we need to work harder to get them involved.
Thank you.
Can I add something else to that?
Go ahead, 60 seconds.
In Zoho, they not only came to be in the center of Edinburg, they're going to build a large 3-story complex that's going to house the majority of their employees and everybody they train all over the country. They also bought 1,050 acres north Edinburg, and the talks are they're going to bring very, very large manufacturing jobs. They were very happy with the administration, with the dealings with our EDC, the city staff, and the owner himself said he's very impressed with everything that's happening here in the city of Edinburg.
May I respond?
You got 30 seconds.
I have a question that nobody's been able to answer to me in respect to Soho. How much revenue is Soho going to generate for the city of Edinburg as far as sales taxes, any kind of revenues? I mean, are we going to get property taxes from the property, the 1,050 that's outside the city limit, or is it in the city limit? Nobody's been able to answer that question.
10 seconds.
Maybe you can, Mr. Diaz, please.
I came off the EDC about, I think it was about 8 weeks ago when my father began to get sick. But I can tell you that Zoho was chosen to buy the Echo, and there was no incentive packages. There was nothing given to them. They love the city of Edinburg. The investment, I don't have those numbers. I'm sure if we look at the EDC, I see some EDC people here, but I don't have that number at this time.
All right, we're good to move on. All right, let's move on to the next question. Edinburg has the potential to become a thriving hub once again. What specific steps would you take to revitalize the area and attract new investments? Mr. Martinez.
Well, we're on the right track. I mean, we are the county seat. We are a college town now. We have the county courthouse. So we are an All-American City for the 4th time. So we are on the map. However, we need to start thinking outside the box, and we need to be extremely aggressive, partnering with our EDC people, our board, and our directors to start marketing ourselves, not just statewide, but nationally, to try to negotiate and bring other companies here so that we have more of an investment to be able to generate what we need to do to provide amenities to all of the citizens, to all the young people, so that we can continue to thrive as a community. We can't be stagnant. We can't just, okay, we got this and we need to hold on to this. We need to continue to push forward. We need to continue to grow and think
10
outside the
seconds.
box. Thank you.
Mr. Diaz.
In order to have a thriving hub, we have to have a great quality of life. We already know that Edinburg is the center of hustle and bustle 9 to 5. It was estimated years ago that 9 to 5 our population goes up to 50,000. So how do we keep people here after? We have to have things that are going to bring larger venues, larger establishments that they're going to tap into that nightlife. One of the biggest things is Division I football. That put Edinburg on the map. Everything that we've done with the All-America City, the criteria was community engagement, civic engagement, inclusivity, being one of only 10 cities in the entire country named All-America City, put us on the map again. It has made the larger businesses and the ones that we don't have here want to learn more about Edinburg. Like just the Vaquero scores recently, everyone says, what's happening in Edinburg, Texas? And so we need to have that here so we can create the thriving hub that we know Edinburg can be.
Thank you. Let's move on to the next question. Housing costs have been steadily increasing in Edinburg. What solutions can you propose to ensure affordable housing remains available for working families and young residents? Mr. Diaz. Absolutely. Housing costs have been steadily increasing in Edinburg. What solutions can you propose to ensure affordable housing remains available for working families and young residents? Mr. Diaz, 60 seconds.
I'm proud to say that after 43 years, during my administration, the Housing Authority opened La Posada 2. There had not been another development like that in over 40 years. That brought 36 affordable housing units to the city of Edinburg. Now, the Housing Authority is supposed to be a temporary solution. We need to help train people there, get them great jobs so they can move on to have their own home. We all know with the inflation, that's really what kind of dictates housing. The reason there were so many apartment complexes a few years ago was because the interest rate was so high, people could not buy their own homes. That turned into more rental opportunities, which developers and business owners started making more apartments. So we have to make sure that we don't forget that sector, but also offer them opportunity to get better paying jobs so they can move on to their own homes, not just affordable housing.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez.
Well, Edinburg has grown exponentially. The housing market has just, exploded with subdivisions, beautiful new homes, apartment complexes, multifamily complexes. There's so many different opportunities for ownership. Some people don't want to have ownership because of everything that comes with it, but the taxes and the maintenance and whatnot. However, we are overpopulated right now with subdivisions, and we cannot keep up with the infrastructure as far as being able to provide them with the services that they need. So how do we get these individuals to be able to continue investing in homes here? And it's not feasible. It's not something that's affordable. There's not a lot of affordable housing. Okay, not everybody qualifies, and a lot of people they don't want to be there. So it's a very tough situation and a tough question to answer and find a solution.
Thank you. Let's move on to the next question. Transparency is key to public confidence. How will you make city government more open, accessible, and accountable to residents? Mr. Martinez.
Very well. My platform is based on accessibility, accountability, and transparency, and putting Edinburg first. One of the things that I feel is there's been a disconnect. There's been a disconnect between the citizens and the administration and the city council. There's a lot of transparency that's missing. We need to be more accessible. We need to be out in the neighborhoods. They started with these town hall meetings and lasted 60 days, less than 90 days, and then they just dissipated and disappeared. Started doing all kinds of other things. We need to be out there in the neighborhoods. This is why they elect the council members. You are their advocate, their voice, and you need to be in their neighborhoods, listening to them, hearing them, and seeing what the issues are. You need to be accessible, you need to be held accountable, and you need to be transparent when you're in a meeting, that if it's not a legal item or a personnel matter, you don't need to discuss it back there in the back. You discuss it in public so that the citizens can see what you're voting on.
Thank you. Mr. Diaz.
I have a different opinion of the city and its transparency. For starters, we started the code of ethics for the city of Edinburg for elected officials. That was never in place. When I got in office, we were not recording executive session, and we started doing that as well. The biggest thing of the All-America City in 2024 was civic engagement of residents. Our programs, our COP programs, we've had over 20 neighborhood meetings that brings the entire city, department heads, to address issues all over the city. The 2040 committees included all the residents, and they put in a lot of work. It's not fair to say that the citizens were not involved. A lot of the things that we're doing, a lot of our focus came from the 24 committees that, as everyone knows, gave us the All-America City after 20 years.
Thank you.
May I respond, please?
You got 60 seconds.
Thank you. Absolutely, yes. They started with the town hall meetings and the 2040 committees and all of these other things that they did. It was all window dressing. There was never follow through. Okay, once those meetings got just put aside, and they started working on other things that became a little bit more priority for them, that the people got left behind. They didn't have any interaction with the council members or the administration or those departments. People call, say, well, what happened to all these meetings, Marty? You know, you asked us to vote for these people, and where are they? You know, they don't answer, they're not around. So I beg to differ respectfully. They haven't done everything that they promised they were going to do, and it's very transparent to the citizens that they failed.
Mr. Diaz, would you like to respond? You got 49 seconds.
Yes, for all the resident volunteers that were part of our 2040 committees, the chairs that spent time away from their families, their kids, sporting events, I thank you for all your work. You guys have shown what it means when we bring community together. And every budget that we have, there are wants that come from those committees, and we plan on addressing those things, from sidewalks to green spaces to every different aspect. We have done very well working together with the community, and I thank all the staff that has made things happen.
Thank you. Let's move on to the next question. Some citizens say they feel unheard or forgotten by city leadership. How will you bridge that communication gap and ensure every resident's voice matters? Go with Mr. Diaz.
I'm going to refer to our 20 neighborhood meetings that we've had. Anytime anyone had a concern, sometimes it starts with just parking issues during school hours. The city heard, and we showed up in their neighborhood. All their neighbors would show up. We all showed up and answered questions. We had department directors that are answering questions. All those meetings is what directs where the city goes on a day-to-day operations. We have also, with the 2040 committee, so many people had not been involved with the city. They were very proud to come. They were very proud to get engaged and involved. And like I said earlier, that's the one of the main reasons why we were named an All-America City. Only 10 cities in the entire nation. The criteria was community engagement. That was one of the big ones. And so we've done a lot of work. We can always do better and make sure that we hit all sides of the city so we can hear them all out.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez.
Exactly right. There is always room for improvement. We can always do better, and we need to do better. We will do better, because they didn't. They didn't. 20 meetings in 4 years, or almost 4 years. We have a population of almost 109,000. How many subdivisions, how many neighborhoods do we have that have issues and concerns that are not being heard? They feel that they're not being heard, and they feel that they are hearing them. Well, there's a disconnect there. I don't know if it's coming from the city administration, if it's coming directly with the council members. There's a disconnect. So we need to alleviate that. We need to change that. We need to make ourselves available to the citizens. After all, we are asking them for their vote, for their support. Well, we need to be obligated to respond to them and reach out to them, and not just wait for them to come to us. Remember, the citizens don't work for the city council. The city council works for the citizens. They vote us in. They are our bosses. We're not theirs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely, 60 seconds.
In this day of social media, you cannot hide from anyone. I get messages left and right, messages that always forward to city. Everyone with concerns, there's a way to find every one of us. We have public comment at the beginning of our meetings. Other cities hide it towards the end. We have done very, very, very many things to make sure that we hear from our residents and we hear them out. As a matter of fact, when you go to city council, you have a concern, we can't respond. But the moment you walk off the podium, one of the directors is there to hear you out. And that is what always comes back to us so that we can make sure we do better. And we can always do better, but we're always engaged with our residents.
All right, Mr. Martinez, you have 41 seconds.
Yes, absolutely. There is social media. I mean, I use it a lot too during this campaign. Unfortunately, social media is a distant method of communication. Our citizens want to have one-on-one interaction, face-to-face. Look at me, hear me, talk to me. Give me answers to my questions. Let me know that you care and that you're paying attention and that you're going to be the advocate that you promised me when you asked me to support you and vote for you. So social media is okay to get the word out and message, but people need face-to-face interaction. They need to see you and hear you.
Thank you. Let's move on to the next question. What personal values or characteristics do you believe an elected official must demonstrate to serve the people of Edinburg with integrity and fairness? We'll go with Mr. Martinez.
Well, like Mr. Diaz said, social media is out there. And you've got to be extremely careful with what you do and what you say and how you interact in public. I think that once you take on the mantle, even now as a candidate, not that any of us are out there breaking the laws, or we shouldn't be. However, we need to be model citizens. We need to be the example that the citizens could look forward to and be proud of as their council members. We don't need to be in the media. We don't need to be on news reports or anything like that. We need to set the example of being leaders, of being quality citizens. We are the representatives of this entire community. We represent the city of Edinburg all the time, not just some of the time, not just when I'm out in public. It's all the time.
10 seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Diaz.
When you want to serve in office, you have to show that you've served before. You have to show that you've been part of boards, how you treat people on those boards, how you deal with city employees. Do you respect them? Do you disrespect them? All that shows when you serve in your city. I can tell you that I've always treated everyone with respect, and going into office, that has carried. As an ER nurse, you have to be able to work with everyone, no matter who they are or what belief system they have. You cannot be bitter about things that have happened in the past. You have to be happy about your city, your position, and everything we do. Your background shows if you've served your community, if you've served the people around you, and how you have served them. And I think that once you get in office, a lot of advice is coming my way. And number one is, when the campaign's over, it's time to govern. You treat everybody fairly. You don't hold on to politics of the past. And you don't have bitterness when people didn't support you. You have to be there for everyone.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to the next question. The Rio Grande Valley's population is expected to nearly double by 2040, and Edinburg could reach up to about 150,000 residents. How should the city prepare for that growth in infrastructure, housing, and city services to ensure sustainable development without losing its community character? We'll go with Mr. Diaz.
That is a very good question, because how do you make sure that you have all this growth and don't forget about the smaller communities that don't want the hustle and bustle? And so that takes planning. You want to make sure that those that want a 5-acre tract are in the right area of town. Those that want to be in an apartment are in the right area of town. I've always talked about that, because I've always talked about responsible growth. You can't have 5 car washes within 1 mile. I've always been trying to limit that, but you have to work with everyone. It's not one person's desire. Luckily, when the water restrictions came, I was able to get some more support on that, and that's why we have limited the car washes. But you have to make sure and plan accordingly so that everyone's little slice of pie in the American dream, it can be found here in the city of Edinburg.
10 seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez.
Yes, and I agree wholeheartedly with what Commissioner Diaz just said. We do need to have a plan. We need to figure out how we're going to be able to plan for this growth. And it begins with repairing what's damaged, repair the problems. We need to address those right now, and we need to not just address them, but we need to plan to make sure that those are not just a fix for today, a Band-Aid, but it is something that is going to carry over into the future for infrastructure, for growth. We need to prepare. It's been said before, we need a master plan. Well, we need a master plan for all kinds of stuff, for drainage, for streets, for our neighborhoods, our administration, our different departments. We need to have enough personnel to address all of these issues and answer these questions and provide the necessary services. So we need to prepare, and we need to do it today, not next year, not in the next 4 years. We need to do it today.
Thank you. Don't forget, guys, we got these little slips on the seats. If you can kindly fill them out, they are valuable information for everyone. And just leave them back on your seats. All right, let's go to the community questions. All right, some residents feel like they don't have full access to information about city projects or spending decisions. What does transparency mean to you, and how will you make sure residents are consistently informed and included in decisions that affect their neighborhoods? We'll go with Mr. Martinez. Oh, well, I'll repeat it. Some residents feel they don't have full access to information about city projects or spending decisions. What does transparency mean to you, and how will you make sure residents are consistently informed and included in decisions that affect their neighborhoods?
Okay, that is something that has already been mentioned many times by citizens when I'm out there speaking to them. Their concern is that they don't know what's going on with certain projects, specifically some that are close to that affect their neighborhoods. There's no updates given to them and things of that nature. And I know that there's some protocols in place, but maybe we need to streamline them or make them better to be more accessible by our citizens. Not everybody has social media. Not everybody has a computer. However, everybody does get mail. We can have, if there's this particular project going on in a neighborhood, then we should have some of our council members, our department people and administration go out into that neighborhood and have a meeting with them and explain to them what the situation is. Where is the status? How much longer is it going to be? What are the things that are holding it back from being completed? So we need to be accessible and more informative to our citizens, not just on social media.
Thank you. Mr. Diaz.
I'm proud to say that our city departments have gone door to door with flyers on projects. It happened here, every business got a flyer when the TxDOT project was going to start. It got delayed because of unforeseen circumstances that TxDOT ran into. It's happened in neighborhoods when roads are going to get worked on. If you've noticed, I always have to drive around, so I drive around areas and there's sometimes a Q code from the project that's handling that, and they can tell you timelines. But above all, if you go to www.cityofedinburg.com, every project we've worked on is on there. You can always call for more information. There is another source that we started, hadn't happened in a long time. We have a quarterly newspaper that goes to all of Edinburg. It updates you on our projects, it gives you a little bit of information and access to information if you need anything else.
Thank you.
May I respond?
You got 60 seconds.
Yes. Absolutely, yes. We have all these apps and all these call 311 and you can log on and you can scan Q codes. Unfortunately, of the 109,000 citizens that we have, not all of them are tech savvy. They don't all know how to handle a phone to scan a Q code or what's 311. So those are all issues that we need to contend with and have a physical relationship and communication with the citizens. So some people work better with hearing and seeing than reading. Okay, so we need to be more available, accessible, and interactive and engaging with the citizens that are being affected by these projects. Thank you.
Mr. Diaz, you got 49 seconds.
A lot of the delays that happen in projects are unforeseen. Our infrastructure is incredibly aged. What happens is that, and this is just a summary of a lot of the delays, when they start the project, there's maps, there's all kinds of things that are telling them what's down there. As soon as they dig, they'll hit a water line that belongs to, let's say, Alamo water supply. Once you do that, the city cannot move anymore on that project. Now we're on somebody else's timeline to come fix that. Sometimes it just takes entirely too long. There are new technologies that can help us map that better. There's SUE technology, there's sonar. Unfortunately, it costs a little more, but it's something that I'm going to implement if I'm elected again for another 4 years.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to the next question. This is from the community as well. Many small businesses in downtown Edinburg say they're struggling, and visitors continue to report problems with parking, flooding, and lighting. How would you work to revitalize downtown while supporting small businesses that form the backbone of our local community? Well, Mr. Diaz.
As we know, small businesses are the backbone of all the economy in the entire country. Downtown area here, we've known it's always been an issue to park. Before I got in office, it was always an issue. Recently, I was reminded that before the construction of the courthouse, there was parking meters all around the area. The biggest thing that happened is that when the new courthouse was built, it took a lot of parking away from downtown. So we've done our best to mitigate that. And the parking garage that also had a bunch of delays that were out of a lot of people's control. It's going to have almost 270 parking spots to address this. Once the old courthouse is knocked down, that's gonna be another 250 spots. Lighting has always been an issue. We have to work on that, find the right budgeting, grant solutions to make sure everybody has lighting.
10 seconds.
And floods, the TxDOT project is gonna be a headache, but it's gonna relieve a lot of the flooding that's happened here. From 8-inch pipes to 10 by 10
Thank you,
culverts.
Mr. Diaz.
Thanks, sir.
Mr. Martinez.
Absolutely. The lifeblood of the city of Edinburg has always been the small business owners, the mom and pops. And we need to reinvest in them. And like what I said earlier about our chamber and our economic development corporation programs, they do a great job, but there's always room for improvement. We need to continue to drive business into their businesses. We need to bring customers into them to help them keep the register going, the doors open, and keep the lights on. Now, as far as infrastructure, oh my God, this is going to be a monster that TxDOT's going to put us through. And I've spent this campaign talking to a lot of the business owners on East University 107, and their concern is that when there was that other project the last time, 60% of them, or they lost 60% of their business, and many of them closed the doors or were about to close the doors because there was lack of accessibility. So we need to find accessibility, different alternate routes for people to continue to come to their business. We cannot forget them. We need to keep building them up.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez.
Can I respond to that?
Absolutely, you got 60 seconds.
When I was on the EDC, we knew that the TxDOT project was gonna be a heartache for small business in this area. We actually started a program to offer loans to businesses so they can figure out how they want to address that, whether it's through more drive-through sales, increase their exposure in other ways. And we learned a lot during COVID. Even today, a lot of the sales happen through drive-through and pickup. So the EDC was able to offer to buy down interest rate on loans so that they can plan for that. Unfortunately, the project's been moved, and EDC is looking for solutions to make sure that we help the small businesses in the area.
Mr. Martinez, you got 41 seconds.
Yes, and great. They're offered loans, even at a low interest loan. If you don't have people coming through your doors and your register ringing, how do you pay that loan back? Whether it's a low interest loan or not, okay? It's very difficult. So this is what they're concerned with, that they're gonna be having to deal with when this project kicks off. It is a long project, so we need to get ahead of it and start finding alternate routes to continue to drive people to be able to go to their businesses and walk through their doors so that the register rings and they're able to keep staying in business and paying the sales taxes. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you, candidates. We've covered a lot of ground tonight, from infrastructure to growth to transparency, public safety, and the future of our city. Final question is, since we're running over on time, I'm going to give you all 1 minute to share any final thoughts, and we'll go with Mr. Martinez first.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you all tonight. Mr. Diaz, thank you for being here tonight. Just want everybody to understand that the citizens of Edinburg deserve a campaign where you can see transparency and accessibility and professionalism and respect between the candidates, because we're asking you to support us and to vote for us and to elect us to be your leaders, to be part of a council that is going to lead you into tomorrow, into the future for your children, so that we can make this better today, tomorrow, and in the future. My name is Ismael Smiley Martinez, and I'm your candidate for Edinburg City Council, Place 1. God bless Edinburg, and God bless us all.
Thank you. Mr. Diaz.
It has been one of my greatest honors to serve as city council member here for Edinburg, representing the city at all these events in the state level and the national level. I'm always proud to say that I'm from the city of Edinburg. We have so many projects that we've done. Just to give a few, we have completed nearly 30 projects and $60 million in the past 3.5 years. And currently, we have almost 40 projects in the pipeline, which equates to almost $80 million. We have helped flooding, we have helped streets, we have helped businesses, but there's a lot more work to be done. We are at a point that Edinburg is in the highest pinnacle of recognition, growth, and everybody knows this nationwide. I ask for 4 more years to continue the progress, keep Edinburg on the rise, and keep Edinburg in a positive light. Thank you very much.
There you go. Let's give a round of applause to our candidates. We're gonna take a quick break online and we'll be back in about 15 minutes. Thank you all. time to be part of this important community event. Tonight's debate is designed to be fair, balanced, and focused on the issues that matter most to the people of Edinburg. Each candidate will have 60 seconds to answer each question, and we ask that everyone respects the time limits so that each voice can be heard equally. If a candidate is directly addressed during the response, that candidate will be given 60 seconds for a rebuttal. We'll go ahead and start with an opening statement of 2 minutes. Answers to each question will be 60 seconds. Rebuttals will be 60 seconds, and then we'll also have a closing statement of 2 minutes. Let's get the mayoral candidates up to the stage, please. Give them a big welcome applause, guys. Welcome. Alrighty, before we begin tonight's questions, I'd like to give each of you a moment to introduce yourselves to the community. You each have 2 minutes to share who you are, why you're running for office, and what message or vision you'd like the people of Edinburg to hear tonight. This is your opportunity to speak directly to the voters and tell them what drives you, what matters most to you, and what kind of leadership you hope to bring to the city of Edinburg. We'll start with Mr. Garcia.
Good evening. First of all, thank you, Joshua, for everything that you're doing for this event. Thank you also to Nick and of course to Citrus Live. It's a great opportunity to be here. I think this is the 5th time that we've had a forum or type of debate between Omar and myself. We've been able to be engaged in every activity that's been called upon. And again, my name is Johnny Garcia. I'm running for the city of Edinburg mayor position. I've already served before the community as a city council member and the mayor pro tem. I also served on the Edinburg Parks and Recreation Board. I served on the Economic Development Board for a while. I also served on the Chamber of Commerce and also Rio Grande Valley Development Council. So I have a wide range of experience serving the community. I've been in the city of Edinburg, born and raised, and I've served for over 30 years as a public servant.
Thank you. Mr. Salinas.
Hello, everybody. Excellent evening. It's an honor to be at the Citrus Theater. It's a historic place founded in 1941. This, right in the middle of the Second World War. Could you imagine starting a business, starting a theater right as the Second World War got started? Of course, a great thank you to Joshua as well for his persistence in trying to get me there and his professionalism through it all. So I was originally born in Far. You could call me a transplant of some sorts. I have been living in Edinburg since 2017. That whole time I have been living as an apartment renter. And so I feel like I come from the working class of Edinburg, from the working class background. And so that's what I'm here to represent. I'm sorry I couldn't be at the Chamber of Commerce event over at the Doctors Hospital Renaissance. I received a phone call from the president and asked him to send me an email, and I didn't get that email. So it's unfortunate I couldn't make it. And I didn't know there were 2 others showing, so you're going to tell me about those later. It's unfortunate to not see former Mayor Molina here, but this is pretty much it. We have early voting in starting Monday. That's just a few days from now. And the reason that I decided to run, I've talked about my background and at the Futuro RGB forum, my background in activism, my background doing journalism and all that. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but really just focus on the reason for it. If we look anywhere around the world, across the world, there's tumultuous things happening. The great capitalist powers of the world are leading the world to a 3rd World War. And if there's a 3rd World War, there won't be a 4th. Humanity is under great threat, and I believe, along with the Socialist Workers' Party, the party that I represent, that only the working class can unarm the capitalist rulers and prevent them from stopping the 3rd World War. I'm here to represent that perspective, and that's why I am running for mayor on the working class option. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Ochoa.
Yes, good evening, everybody. I want to say thank you also to the organizers of the event, Citrus Live, for hosting this. This is a very important event for the citizens of Edinburg to be able to hear the perspectives and the plans of people who want to lead this city. But I will start at the very top with what's not here, right? Mr. Molina did not show up tonight. A leader of the city needs to be available to be scrutinized, to receive constructive criticism, to give you their plans for where they want the city to go forward into the future, because you, the residents, deserve that. And so I want to say thank you to the candidates that are up here on this stage, and we hope that you will be able to discern from our positions who you believe is the next mayor for the city of Edinburg. I was born and raised here, and I love my city. I went to Freddie Gonzalez Elementary School, Memorial Junior High, and Edinburg North High School, graduating near the top of my class. After that, I went to UT Austin on a full academic scholarship, where I majored in business honors and accounting and received a master's in professional accounting. I was elected the first Hispanic student body president at UT Austin, an honor that I was very proud of. After that, I went to Detroit to work for the CFO of General Motors, analyzing billions of dollars in business results. But I always wanted to go to law school, so I went back to UT for law school and again graduated near the top of my class and served as the first Hispanic editor-in-chief of the Texas Law Review. Two historic marks that I'm very proud of. After that, I worked for a couple of federal judges, went to Houston, worked at a law firm there on some really interesting cases. A couple of years into my practice, I received an award in Washington, D.C. as one of the best young trial lawyers in the country. But I brought it all back home. I always wanted to come back to the Rio Grande Valley. I started the Omar Ochoa Law Firm based right here, cases all over the state. Significantly, I served as your city attorney for 6 years.
10 seconds.
Given my experience, given my knowledge, I know the details. I'm ready to roll up my sleeves to get the job done for you. And I'm looking forward to talking about details tonight.
Thank you. All right, let's get started. Edinburgh's growth has brought opportunity, but also new financial pressures. How will you keep property taxes stable while still investing in infrastructure, safety, and essential services? Mr. Ochoa, we'll start with you.
Yes, I think, for the residents of Edinburg, it's important to stabilize the tax rates and to have a long-term plan to be able to lower those. But we can't do that without offsetting the revenue. The city of Edinburg is blessed with a landfill that produces a lot of revenue for the city. There are opportunities there to grow that revenue even more. If we can grow our sales tax base, that gives us more opportunities to lower the property tax rate. But this is how you responsibly control fiscal management for the city. Given my financial background, it is my highest priority to ensure that we are responsible for your tax dollars. Literally everything the city does spends your money, and I take that responsibility very seriously. So having master plans for drainage, for roads, for growth is going to allow us to make smart infrastructure investments with your money, not being willy-nilly, not taking on projects without knowing what the budgets are, where they're going to be, and being stuck with something that we can't pay for. Your tax dollars are too important for that.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia.
Sure, thank you. First of all, when I was elected in 2019, our tax rate was at 0.635. We are right now in 2025, and the tax rate is the same. So it's been sustained in the same amount. But I think this is an opportunity where we need to continue to have a strong department for grants so that we can continue to use grant money instead of taxpayers' money and release some of that pressure that the taxpayers are feeling at this moment as inflation continues to rise. I feel that by us using grant money instead will help alleviate many of the situations that we're having, but more importantly, that we get to continue to see the growth that the city needs.
Thank you. Mr. Salinas.
Yeah, so as we talked about at the Futuro Forum, property taxes, as I said there, fall hardest on the working class and on the lower middle class families who are struggling to get by. It's another tax on the working class, and I had said that it should be the corporations that a tax on the corporate profits, that should be the way to fund these institutions. Yes, there is not a way currently for municipalities to charge for a corporate tax. That would be something at the state level. But I'm offering to fight for that. I'm offering to bring the working class, or not to bring them along, but for us to come together and to fight for those kinds of things, to make these for-profit hospitals pay for the public services that all of us need, and
thank you, Mr.
It's the working class that builds it. Thank you.
May I say something in response?
Go ahead, you got 60 seconds.
So this has been said before, and it needs to be made very clear, right? The state of Texas limits what the city can tax. It's property taxes and sales taxes, and that's it. There is no possibility for the city of Edinburg to impose a corporate tax rate. To say otherwise is just not knowing the details and not knowing what it takes to run a city. I agree with Mr. Garcia that we need to have a grants department that is stable and that is able to bring in more money so that we cannot grow our city on the backs of our taxpayers. But all that is also going to require plans. It's just like borrowing money to build a house. If you don't have the blueprints, if you don't have the architecture, right? If you don't have that, you're not going to get that money. To have a successful grants department, to have successful partnerships with the state, with the county, with the federal government, we need to have secure plans in place, and all of those details need to be thought through. And that's the only way we'll be able to get additional monies and not have to rely on taxpayers.
Mr. Salinas, would you like to rebuttal?
Sure.
60 seconds.
Property taxes are a way for the capitalist government to fund itself. The real answer, the real long-term solution is for the working class to take political power. This is not a government that is up by and for the working class. I believe that there should be throughout the whole country, not just in Edinburg. But this would be a part of that. This would be a start to that. I had mentioned in my answer that in state law that it mandates that a city cannot wage a corporate tax, which is why I said that working people can fight for those things. There's a lot of things that as far as the books, as far as the laws, they're not currently possible. But the question is, who's going to fight for them? How are we going to fight for them? How are we going to fight for it together? And unlike the other candidates, I'm not saying that I have the solutions and have the answers and that my charisma will get it, but I'm calling for a movement of working people to fight, and that's a key word, fight for these things.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia, would you like to say something? You got 60 seconds. All right, let's move on to the next question. Wasteful spending is a concern for many residents. What will your administration do to ensure fiscal discipline and accountability in every department? And where do you believe the city can cut unnecessary costs without reducing service quality? Well, Mr. Salinas.
Yeah, so at the last forum where the three of us were together, I talked about the two largest items on the city budget. That's the firefighters and that's the police department. I think we can look there to see exactly what's going on, how many programs there are that don't necessarily help the community compared to those two items together, which make up somewhere roughly between 25-26%. The public works programs, pale in comparison. I think that there should be a public works program funded by the federal government to create the things that society needs, to create the things that the working class people need. And I'm not just talking about working class citizens, working class people. I believe in a movement of the working class, regardless of the immigration status, to put people back to work. Thank you.
Mr. Ochoa.
Yeah, I respectfully disagree. The police department, the fire department, our emergency services, our first responders, this is the core of what the city provides. When you look at a city government, public infrastructure and first response, vital. And as your next mayor, I intend to support our police department and our fire department to make sure they have the training and the equipment that they need. When we're talking about operational efficiency for a city, there are all kinds of ways to be able to cut into this, but it's going to take technology. It's going to take new tools, new ways of thinking. We can't be doing things the way we've done in the past. For example, the way that we redo cities right now on potholes, it takes several crews, it takes several days, it takes several pieces of equipment to get that done. What if we could find this one piece of equipment that can get all of that done, shorter amount of time, less people, less cost? This is just one example of different ways that we can have new methods, new resources to be able to run the city efficiently and save the taxpayers some money.
Thank you, Mr. Ochoa. Mr. Garcia.
Thank you, sir. First of all, in our budget, 60% of our budget is based just on our safety of our community, which is on the fire department, the police department, and public works. those departments can never be jeopardized. We have to learn to continue to look at every item on our budget and see what our needs versus our wants and do some scale back, especially when it comes to the employment, where if there are certain employees that we can shift to a different department where we can continue to still be efficient for the residents, first of all, and of course the employees, because we can never jeopardize somebody's livelihood either. And equipment is very good, but we can find the manpower to continue to operate this machinery where they continue to have a job and just continue to be more responsible on our fiscal responsibility with our monies, just like we do in our personal lives. I think the city is a better way.
Thank you. There was a disagreement. Does anybody want to rebuttal? Move on to the next question.
Over here.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Josh, I thought you
Go
had
ahead.
seen me.
You got
Yeah,
60
so
seconds.
I don't think I'll need that long. I just wanted to point out that the other candidates pretty much gave I would say, a strong defense for the police. And I would just like to draw that distinction that there are candidates who, are taking the side of the police for the working class. They're constantly harassed by the police. There are complaints against them that go uninvestigated. They have to investigate themselves. And so I just want to draw that distinction. I'm sure if former Mayor Molina was here, he would probably side with them because he's received the endorsement of the Edinburg Police Association. I don't want their endorsement. I would rather have the endorsement of people who've been stopped by the police, people who've been pulled over, people who've been bullied, people who've been harassed by the police.
10 seconds.
Those are the people I'm looking for. Thank you.
Mr. Ochoa, you got 53 seconds.
Yes, thank you. Yes, so there are already policies and procedures in place when there are reports for the city to investigate. And I know this because as city attorney, I helped develop those. We trust our police department and our fire department with our lives, with our property, and with our families. And as your next mayor, we will continue to support them with training and with equipment that will make sure that they keep all of us safe.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia.
Sure. Law and order is very important in our city to continue to run the city the way it needs to. Being the fact that I did serve on the city council before, I know firsthand exactly the importance of our police and the fire department in our area. And of course, we have to continue to work with them to give them the proper resources to do their job to the best of their ability.
Thank you. Let's move on to the next question. Canterbury Elementary School experienced an E. coli contamination this year, raising questions about oversights and infrastructure readiness. What steps will you take to modernize Edinburg's water and sewer systems to ensure safe, reliable service citywide? We'll go with Mr. Garcia.
Sure. First of all, we have to continue to work with our partnerships, not only at the local level, but the county, the state, and the federal level, that we can continue to have a partnership between all of us and continue to always keep the community, the residents' human life first on hand. The situation that happened at the Canterbury was a very unfortunate incident, but we learn from those mistakes. We learn what we can do different. We learn that we can try to filter the water a lot better by using either pump systems, also pump stations, and of course by widening our canals where the water can stay actually in the canal and not go into the private properties along the canal drainage. And so it's just about working together with our entities that are around us to make the city better together.
Thank you. Mr. Salinas.
I think what happened at Canterbury Elementary was not just unfortunate, it was a result of capitalist neglect. Under the capitalist system, safety of the public, safety of the working class schools and the working class neighborhoods are not a priority. How much do the school district members get? How loaded are their salaries? How often do we hear in the monitor of people receiving $200,000 salaries? It was the result of neglect, the result of cutting corners, the result of what some people describe as cutting costs. Well, we see where cost cutting gets you. I believe the principal of the school said afterwards that they had underestimated the amount of infrastructure they would need. Yeah, they underestimated it, all right. So I would fight to organize the working class to fight for more safety. That is the only way to do it. The long-term solution is to overcome capitalism, but in the short term, we fight the government. Thank you.
Mr. Ochoa.
Yeah, so I think one of the big takeaways from this is we need to be able to dissect problems. Everybody's aware of the E. coli issue that came up, but to be honest, and I'm okay with being honest when I don't know something, when I don't know the issues and I need to look into them. I'm not sure if there ever was a true study to dissect what was the cause of that. We do know that there was sewage that went into the school and then that caused the E. coli outbreak, but I'm not sure if it was the lift station that was nearby, if it was the piping inside of the school, if there was a drainage pipe running along the right of way. We need to know answers before we can come up with solutions, right, to those problems. And if we don't take the time to be deliberate, to think through things, to work together with the school district to really find out what it was that happened, we'll never fix problems. When we have political solutions, and what I mean by that is something that's just gonna keep people quiet, that is not gonna solve the real problems. As your next mayor, I wanna make sure that we all work together, that we dissect problems intelligently, and that we come up with competent, real solutions.
Thank you, Mr. Ochoa. If y'all don't mind, can we push this to 1 minute and 20 seconds? It seems like your answers are pretty interesting. I think people like to hear a little bit more. Are you all good with that, fellas?
Sure.
Yes?
Yes.
I don't think I'll need that long, but sure.
Okay. Let's go to question number 5. Flooding continues to affect neighborhoods across Edinburg. How will you make long-term drainage improvements a priority in both current and future developments? Mr. Salinas.
By prioritizing the working class neighborhoods. I had mentioned at the last forum we're together at the Edinburg Municipal Auditorium, the next time there's a flood and, all the local city governments and the weather service, they act as if, they're acts of God. If I could get rid of one phrase in our language, it would be acts of God. Surprise, it's gonna rain in the summer, all right? Most likely June. And when that happens, it's going to flood. The next time it happens, I challenge everybody, go and drive around the following day or after, the rain stops and, see which neighborhoods are hit hardest. It's always the unincorporated areas. It's the colonias, it's the apartment complexes. As I described at the last forum, it's the slum place where I live. There is no drainage in my apartment complex. There is no storm drains. There isn't one storm drain at all. And that's not just my neighborhood. It's all the apartment complexes across the city. So that's where my priority would be with the working class neighborhoods.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia.
You want to repeat the question again?
Absolutely. Flooding continues to affect neighborhoods across Edinburg. How will you make long-term drainage improvements a priority in both current and future developments?
First of all the developments that have been coming up in the last couple of years, they've been required to have retention areas in their development. And I think that helps a lot ease the flooding issues. One of the other things that we need to continue to do is that when we do have a heavy rainfall, that we look at those areas quickly and see where we have our flood situations. Thank God that now our fire department, our police department have drone operators, so they're able to see a lot of these flood areas that we don't visibly see from the ground. And so using those kind of technologies will help us find out exactly where our problems lie so that we can address them by improving the drainage in those areas, by making the drainage a lot bigger. Like we've been talking about, the city right now has a 10-inch diameter drainage system in our courthouse area. We're looking at turning it to a 10 by 10. This has been going on since 2019 that I was elected the first time.
Thank you. Mr. Ochoa.
For me, again, it goes back to planning. We need a long-term drainage plan that matches a long-term growth plan of the city. Because drainage is a moving target. The more you develop, it's going to change drainage patterns. And if we're not knowing where the growth is going, if we're not making those smart infrastructure investments, we're going to be behind. And so it's all about making those plans and keeping those in place. But besides from that, there are practical things that we can do. We need to be able to check drainage infrastructure regularly to make sure that there's no clogging, that there's no issues with the drainage being able to flow. And that can be a local city team that does that, but we also need to work in partnership with the drainage district to make sure that their infrastructure is also flowing well. These are two kind of really practical things that we can do. In the long term though, drainage is a regional issue and it's going to take a regional solution. We need to work with other cities, with the county, with the state to be able to come up with the plans and with the funding that's going to make sure that drainage is alleviated going over into the future. Because without a regional solution, the city of Edinburg can do what it needs to do, but we are still tied into other drainage districts, and that water is going to flow into our area as well. And so pursuing these relationships, incredibly important to manage drainage.
Thank you. Let's move to the next question. Traffic congestion is becoming a growing frustration for residents. What are your concrete solutions to improve traffic flow, safety, and connectivity across the city? Let's go with Mr. Garcia.
Sure. I think first of all, we need to find a way to help control the traffic congestion that, of course, we're all feeling because of the UTRGV and, of course, the new courthouse. And one of the ways to do that would be to optimize our traffic lighting, but also build more roads or redirect some of the lanes that we do have. And another thing is to help promote bus transportation or even carpooling to help reduce some of that traffic that we're facing right now. That a lot of these congestions are just temporarily while the city continues to grow. But more importantly, we have to listen to the needs of our residents because there are eyes and ears out there. And so they're able to tell us, where they have the most problems, especially right now we're hearing a lot of issues with traffic around school zones. So it's something that we need to continue to work with the school district and the university to help improve on the traffic flow.
Thank you. Mr. Ochoa.
Yeah, so for traffic patterns around the city, again, we need to be able to have a master plan. What is going to be our master traffic plan in and out of the city? There are a lot of roadways that need expansion, especially some of our east-west corridors. I think Wisconsin is a really good example of a street that would benefit from being a multi-lane street. Chapin on the north side of Edinburg, same thing, would really benefit from being a multi-lane street. And being able to alleviate some of these is going to go a long way to having a free flow of traffic. Our downtown is an area of high traffic need as well. We've got, a university that's growing. We have university students that are coming in and starting to enjoy campus life and being local. I think we need to have more mobility for downtown Edinburg. The county right now provides a bus service that travels from different parking areas into the courthouse. I can see an expansion of that in partnership with the county, where we're having more bus systems traveling in different parts of downtown Edinburg. And I think that will help to alleviate a lot of those flow problems in the downtown area as well.
Thank you. Mr. Salinas.
Yeah, so I agree that the roads could definitely be expanded. Speaking of Chapin, it's a two-way road. Onto each side are these big drainage canals for the neighboring apartment complexes. And I also believe that public transport is really the way to do it, although I think the car companies might have something to say about that. Dalegas, as they say. But again, I would point your attention to the priority here. How come, it gets clogged, throughout certain times? In the morning, in the evening, that's when people are traveling to work. That's when the working class people are commuting to pick up their kids, to head to work, to head back to work. And so I think that is a key example of how the needs of the working people are pretty much set to the side because that's not the priority. But again, the more people have cars, the more the car dealerships make, the more the gas profiteers make, and so on. So I do believe in public transport as well, but that's a shift in the priorities.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. All right, let's move on to the next question. Roughly 25% of Edinburgh's residents, about 27,000 people, live below the poverty line. What steps can the city take to expand opportunity, attract higher paying jobs, and improve conditions for working families? Mr. Salinas.
Unionize the valley. At the last Municipal forum, it was brought up that that the city of Edinburg is proud to pay the police and the firefighters what their trade unions ask for. Well, that's fine. But how about all the other workers? How about the city workers? How about all the workers that currently work at factories for 12-hour, 13-hour shifts for $9 an hour, for $9.50 an hour? How do I know that? Because I've worked at those factories. I was working at a steel factory until very recently. I know somebody who had been at that steel factory for several years without a raise. And so that's really the way I don't think, the city itself as an entity can establish some of those things, but I do think that the working class in this area needs a working class city council to fight and to join them for those fights to unionize. I have said that if I'm elected mayor, I would establish an office to help the working class people to establish trade unions, to establish unions for the neighborhoods. And I think that that's really the fighting solution and the fighting way towards that in the short term. So yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia.
Sure. I think first of all, we can continue to work on policies that help economic and labor policies by creating jobs and of course raising wages. But also we need to increase our worker power. We need to continue to have CTE programs that can help bring trade skills here, but also to support small business entrepreneurs by helping them with grants or set up businesses where people have a vision of wanting to own their business one day, that we have a resource center that we can help them and help them have a plan that will help them achieve that goal. But more importantly, I think that we need to continue to focus on having a social safety net by strengthening our social programs and of course improving access to care for our families.
Thank you. Mr. Ochoa.
I'm a big believer in education, and that is a bridge that will lead us to the future. So for me, establishing a trade school in Edinburg is a high priority. Working with the county, working with South Texas College, working with the school district to create that trade school is going to create and lead to gold collar jobs. Not just blue collar jobs, but gold collar jobs. High paying trade skills in electricity, in plumbing, in HVAC services. EVs is something that's coming down the pipe, having more EV technicians. These are the jobs of the future. These are the high-paying jobs that's going to allow people who are not necessarily concentrating on a four-year institution or a professional degree to have the ability to raise their level of income for their families as well. Also, the city partnering with the Texas Workforce Development and making sure that the city is promoting their events, having them be involved in city events as well, is a very clear way to have a lending hand to an organization that's already doing a lot to promote higher wages and more economic opportunity. The truth is, this is a multi-pronged approach. There is no one solution to be able to lift people out of poverty. It's going to include affordable housing. It's going to include financial counseling. There are a lot of different approaches, and as your next mayor, I want to be creative about how we put these together.
Let's move on to the next question. With tech companies like Zoho beginning to establish a presence in the Valley, what is your vision for welcoming innovative-driven employers, and how will you handle scenarios when future industries like AI development could create massive water or energy demands that strain local resources? Well, Mr. Garcia.
Sure. First of all, we want to continue to work with our Economic Development Corporation, of course, our Chamber of Commerce, to be able to receive companies like Zoho that want to invest in the city of Edinburg. But more importantly, we have to find a way to show the residents of what they're bringing in when they come to the city as investors, and let the stakeholders look into this also, where they can work together and bring a bigger partnership together. What Zoho is doing for our city is a major economic impact. And the thing about it is, it's about learning what the future has for us. And it's about working together as a partnership, as investors, as stakeholders for the future of our children.
Thank you. Mr. Ochoa.
I think it's a great thing, having more tech jobs located here in the Rio Grande Valley. Are you kidding me? This is exactly what we want. And it was a home run for the EEDC to be able to assist Zoho coming, not with any financial incentives, not with any packaging, but to be able to put Zoho together with the owners of the Echo Hotel to spur this economic development. These are exactly the types of jobs that we want. I would also love to see a push in healthcare. And as I've said, a push in trade skill. And all of these things are wonderful. Having more tech jobs is really going to lift, I think, the quality of life as well as the wages for the area. Talking about resources that come along with that, I think you're alluding to data centers, which use quite a bit of water, quite a bit of resources. things like that. The truth is, water is going to be an issue no matter what, whether we have AI jobs, tech jobs or not. And talking about real water solutions is very important. On the ballot with the rest of us, right? There is Proposition 4, which is going to divert money for the Texas Water Fund, which will allow our community and other communities around us to be able to come up with new funding for new water sources. A little bit of a digression to my answer, sorry about that, but I think it's important to address the real issues, right? So tech companies, great, we need to keep promoting them because I think UTRGV produces some wonderful tech students. We lose them to other areas, we don't want to lose that, but yes, I agree on the resources, but that's, I think, also a separate issue, and I hope you ask that question again later.
Thank you. Mr. Salinas.
Yeah, so my focus, as you probably might be able to gather yourselves, is not so much on trying to court, certain, economic sectors to come here. We live in very close to an enormous international trade zone. Billions and billions come across, every day, every second at this moment. And so just naturally, by the way that the global economy works, you're going to continue to see these things. You're going to continue to see companies that can facilitate the trade routes, that can facilitate the assembly lines of the area. As you have a growing population that becomes increasingly educated and so on, those things are just going to continue to happen. My focus is, as I said earlier, to fight for a federally funded works programs, to put people back to work and to build the things we need. My particular focus as far as Zoho, and the same goes for SpaceX and all of those other companies, is to find a way to reach out to those workers and to make them part of, to join their own trade unions, to establish workers' control of production. And I think that's the way forward. Thank you.
Can I respond?
You got 60 seconds.
I'm a business owner, and I can tell you, as a business owner, growth doesn't just happen, right? Even if other companies and other opportunities are going on around you, you've got to be able to make the right investments so that your company can grow. And that's why my mentality is we need to run the city like a business. How is it that we are going to prosper this entire community? It's by working together. It's by being united. It's by having plans for where our future is going to be here in the city of Edinburg. It's not going to happen on its own. We need real leaders with real visions and real plans to make these things come about. To sit here and to say that it's just going to happen on its own, I think misses the real mark, and it's going to miss the opportunity. We need somebody who's ready to drive this city forward into the next era that we all know we deserve to be in.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. 47 seconds.
Sure. So the perspective that was just espoused, as Mr. Ochoa said, was from the perspective of the business owners. Well, of course, the business owners are going to compete amongst themselves. They're going to compete for scarcer and scarcer markets, shorter and shorter markets, for lower and scales for to pay the workers and so on. The question is not how, as a business owner, are you going to contribute and try to get a piece of the pie, try to get a slice, try to get a piece of the action? That was not the question. The question was incorrectly posed in my view. How is the city going to expand economic development? Not how is a particular business going to try to jump into that? And so that's what the question was. And so yes, there are going to be businesses that are going to compete for 10 seconds for this market and the so-called magic valley of it. So yes, there is going to be competition, but that economic growth will happen. Yeah.
Mr. Garcia, 47 seconds. Thank you. Let's move on to the next question. The Rio Grande Valley is facing a growing water shortage, and water bills are expected to increase in the near future. What will your administration do to ensure Edinburg maintains both reliable access to water and affordable rates for residents and businesses? Well, Mr. Salinas.
Yeah, so again, the way this is set up, the way the system is set up is for a profit system, for the profit motive. The scarcity with water is not just an issue for the United States, just for the Rio Grande Valley. It's an international issue. The last few years, there have been disputes with Mexico over water for the Rio Grande. And shocker, it's the small farmers that aren't able to get as much water as they need. Shocker, it's the poorer municipalities that continue to face the scarcity that they suffer from. I think ultimately it's not just a matter of a municipal government to try to alleviate these things. This is going to take an international solution, and that's why I believe that the working class needs to take political power, not just in the United States, but in Mexico and in other countries and in Canada, because it's the result of capitalist competition. It's a competition between, it's not just the private capitalists between countries, but the capitalist countries between other countries as well.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia.
Sure, thank you. First of all, of course, we all know that water shortage is a big issue. And of course, one of the main jobs and responsibilities of our city is to purchase water, but it also takes all of our residents to do their part. We have to learn to recycle our water, try to use the water for our necessities. There's not a need to wash your vehicle, let's say, every day. We have to work together with our community, with our neighbors, to instill that we have plenty of water to continue to move forward. And of course, that's why, we continue to build more water towers, so that we can have more water reservations also.
Thank you. Mr. Ochoa.
Well, let me see if I can try to touch on some ideas, what the city can actually do to retain some water sources. Because ultimately, we will never run out of water, right? This is the truth. But we will run out of cheap water, right? If we're not planning ahead for the future. We always have the possibility for desalination on the coast and be able to pipe that water in, but that's going to be incredibly expensive to build and to service. So we need to start looking ahead now, right, for real water sources. There is brackish water underneath us that's not as salty as the ocean, that's cheaper to purify, to be able to serve as water. The city of McAllen is working on that now, and as I mentioned, the Texas legislature has passed this constitutional amendment to allow for the diversion of sales tax money for water sources. And so the city of Edinburg needs to come up with a regional solution in conjunction with others, how to be able to start getting brackish water sources. In addition to that, there's stormwater detention that we should be focusing on as well. Building out more reservoirs, building out more ways to store that water. All right, if we're going to have these large floods, we might as well try to capture that water before it runs off into the ocean. So there are a number of solutions that we need to study because this is a real problem.
Let's move over to the next question. UTRGV is one of Edinburgh's greatest assets, yet many graduates leave the valley for opportunities elsewhere. How will your administration collaborate with UTRGV and local industry leaders to create pathways to keep graduates and their talents here in Edinburg? Mr. Ochoa.
Yeah, I think, the partnership with UTRGV is a critical one. UTRGV is a main economic driver of the city of Edinburg and the Rio Grande Valley. But I agree, I studied at the University of Texas at Austin, and I worked in Houston. Students now should not have to be forced to leave this area to be able to get the high-paying wage and jobs that they have worked so hard, right, to be able to earn. And so that's why focusing on real industries with high-paying jobs that we can attract here to Edinburgh is vital. In the tech sector, in the healthcare sector, and in the trade schools. And so the partnership with UTRGV and the city, incredibly important. I would also love to see more students being involved in city governance. As mayor, I would propose to actually have students serve on city boards and councils and allowing their elected representation, the Student Government Association, to be able to choose who those persons are. Having them have real kind of real say in the matters of the city and how the city moves forward, I think is going to engender that pride. And as I said earlier, I don't have all the answers. I don't even know all the issues. So the more that we can reach out to the stakeholders to provide their input, the better off we're going to be.
Thank you. Mr. Salinas.
Yeah, so I was part of the Student Government Association, 2014 and 2015, very crucial year. That was a year that UTPA merged with UTP. I was also part of the founding constitutional convention that came up with a founding constitution that is UTRGV's current constitution, although I voted against it because there's many things wrong with it. There are certainly opportunities that I think the university could partner up with the city. There should be more internships, especially in the public affairs schools. Especially with social sciences, but in other avenues as well, with the health field, with the health workers. So I think, we need a little more creativity in terms of, internships and, on the two sides, some people who are employed by the city, who happen to be younger and, or, are also in the school, having internships with UTRGV and vice versa. But I think that the assumption that people need to stay in the valley is an assumption I would challenge, because I think the greatest thing that the university has brought has been more international students, people from India, people from Bangladesh. I think that adds a lot to the city, and so. I don't have time to talk about other things, but I think those things have been enriching.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia.
Thank you, Josh. I think one of the main things is to continue to have partnerships with our school district, of course, the university, our health system, and our city government, of course, and our county government. But one of the main things is to create internships where our student body from the UTRGV and the other community colleges can actually have hands-on experience and work in any of those fields that they're actually majoring in. But more importantly, I don't think necessarily it's always about the money. It's more about them working in an environment and a place that they feel happy. A lot of times family values and staying at home is more important than the money that they feel that they're gonna make. And yes, sometimes we do leave out of the valley to go work and make the money, but we eventually come back to our home roots. And I think just giving the students an opportunity to be able to stay in their own hometown or in the region that we live in, family values is very important as well.
Thank you. Let's move on to the next question. McAllen and surrounding cities, including Edinburg, have been ranked #1 most obese metro area in the nation, while diabetes and cancer rates continue to climb. How can the city lead a regional effort to promote healthier lifestyles through parks, recreation, and community education about these public health challenges? Well, Mr. Garcia.
First of all, I believe health is very important for all of us. And I believe it was in 2019 when we started with the Active Edinburg program when I served on the city council. And I can see that there's been a significant drop in obesity from what we used to see before. We have the privilege as we're driving around town, we're able to see more walking trails, bike trails. We see a lot more people out enjoying outdoor activities, which I think is very important. For many years, we saw a lot of our children being at home, homebodies and just playing on the internet or on their iPads or laptops. And I think we're seeing more kids be engaged in outdoor activities, thanks again to the Parks and Recreation that we have here that is very active in promoting not only seasonal sports, but all year round. And it's just about having family engagement and seeing our children go out there and play. And as adults, we want to be out there with the children to create memories for each other.
Thank you. Mr. Salinas.
Healthcare is a part of the private sector. It's a commodity. It's something that's sold for profit. I had mentioned the hospital earlier that's known for that. I strongly wish I'd have gone to that forum over at PHR, so I could have said this to their faces, which is that all the nurses need to be in trade unions, and even several doctors. There are many doctors across the country who are having to strike and for things like that because they're not being paid enough, because they're overworked, because they don't get enough time off. And so it's really a national and an international question, a question of healthcare. As long as healthcare is a commodity, as long as it's there for profit, we're going to continue to see people going bankrupt because of their hospital bills. We're going to continue to see these long wait times at hospitals. And so I think that what really needs to happen is we need to nationalize healthcare under workers' control. And so as the mayor, I fight for that, and I think we need more and more people to lead that fight to get healthcare out of the private sector.
Thank you. Mr. Ochoa.
Yeah, I think the city has done a really good job of promoting active lifestyles in the last few years. There's some really great events that are happening right now. There's a half marathon, there's a triathlon, all sponsored by the city. There's a duathlon, including a road bike race that's really cool. And so I think the city is doing a lot to promote these healthy lifestyles, and you're seeing communities of people coming up, enjoying those, participating in them. And these events are getting bigger and bigger every year. The city's annual 10K, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the largest in the state. So we have a lot of really great events. We need to continue to support those. We need to promote those. But for the community at large, it's not all about having athletic events. It's not even all about just kind of, running. Having more trails and having more parks accessibility is going to do a lot for our community. There is studies that show that there's a correlation between increased parks, increased trails, and a decrease in diabetes in the community. I would love to see an ambitious goal of having every resident live within 10-minute walking of a green space of a park. And I think there's creative ways to do that by connecting more sidewalks and more trails to existing parks in communities that don't currently have access to them. We're gonna increase that availability and encourage people not necessarily to go out and run, but to at least walk and engage in a healthy lifestyle. And I think these are creative things that the city can do now.
Thank you. Let's move over to the next question. Edinburg is now outpacing McAllen in growth rate, which brings both pride and pressure. Do you believe the city is managing this growth strategically, or do we risk overdevelopment and strain on city services? Mr. Ochoa.
Yeah, I mean, the city of Edinburg is blessed, right? We are the fastest growing city in the Rio Grande Valley, one of the fastest growing cities in the state. But with that comes the responsibility of city leaders to ensure that infrastructure needs are being met, that services are being met, that there's enough police department employees, fire department employees. And so all of this is going to take real planning. I think our city is on the cusp of being something truly great. But for being able to do that, we need to start acting like the large city that we want to be. And that's going to require master planning. Where's our growth going to be? How many officers do we need to be able to keep up with that growth? Where are our drainage detention ponds going to be located so that we don't have severe flooding in specific areas? This type of future planning, future-oriented mentality is something that's going to be incredibly important if we're going to elevate our city to the main economic driver of the RGV that I think that we should be. But right now we are going through these growing pains. I want to say though that this is a great place for us to be. We have a beautiful community. We are very engaged. We have festivals that families love to come out to. Our city, yes, has some issues to deal with in terms of infrastructure investments, but this is a blessing for us, and we need to drive Edinburg into the future with vision and with real plans.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia.
Thank you. First of all, yes, it is good to plan, but I feel that we need more of an action plan to actually fix our infrastructure problems or issues that we're having. Because number one, we need something that is more detailed and more short-term so that the residents can see the action take place now and not necessarily in the future. Because I feel that the city is growing so rapidly. We are the fastest growing city in the entire Rio Grande Valley and the 5th in the state and 12th in the nation. But we have a lot of growing pains that we're facing, but we've been facing for the last 10 years. And so we need to catch up to where we need to be in order for our residents that have been living here a long time to see that they have not been neglected at all. We have a lot of new developments, which is great for our city, but we're forgetting about the original town sites of our city.
Thank you. Mr. Salinas.
Yeah, so again, I think I would like to question the implicit assumption in there, which is that the city of Edinburg is in some kind of competition with other cities. I was talking to a mechanic the other day who happened to be in Edinburg. He lives in Mission, and he was here in Edinburg. He was at a McDonald's that I was at, and we're having a conversation about how the RGV. If you think about it, it's really like one big area. There are people that live in Edinburg that have to go to work somewhere else. And there are people who live in McAllen that come to work in Edinburg. So if you investigate that assumption, I think the real question is how can the city help the economic growth, help the private sector from the point of view of the bosses. And so again, I don't particularly have a side in that kind of dispute. I think that perspective is alien to a lot of working class people who, again, they might live in Edinburg, travel to work somewhere else, and to
10 seconds.
who vice versa. And so again, I question that assumption and the perspective from which it's being asked.
Thank you. All right, let's move over to the next question. Over the past few years, many residents have said that Edinburg seems to have a move forward at any cost mentality, with rapid development taking priority, while some neighborhoods and longtime residents feel left out or unheard. How will your administration ensure that progress in Edinburg benefits everyone, not just developers or certain areas, and that growth includes meaningful input from the people who live here? Well, Mr. Garcia.
Sure. Well, first of all, we do have that 311 app that the residents can be engaged in, but I've always said that we are instruments of our community and we represent all residents. It doesn't matter what side of town you live in, we represent everybody. And the true ears and eyes to our city is our residents. And so as long as the residents continue to reach out to us and let us know where the issues are arising in their area, is the only way that we can address the issues that are coming up in all directions. We cannot be everywhere in our city, but it takes an engagement. And I feel that if we empower our residents and we unify our citizens, that they feel that they're part of this city and take pride, that we can all work together to make the city a better place to live and work and have a better quality of life. But it comes down to the residents being able to feel that the people that they select to be their leaders, that they're accessible at all times.
Thank you. Mr. Salinas.
I'm sorry, can I have the
Absolutely.
question again?
Over the past few years, many residents have said that Edinburg seems to have a move forward at any cost mentality, with rapid development taking priority, while some neighborhoods and longtime residents feel left out or unheard. How will your administration ensure that progress in Edinburg benefits everyone, not just the developers or certain areas, and that growth includes meaningful input from the people who live here?
Yeah, so I think that kind of goes back to the question we just discussed previously, which is that, again, I think a lot of these questions are asked from the point of view, as you had mentioned, of these developers and so on. So I think I would just refer back to my previous answer, which is that, it's all a matter of priorities. And, with Mr. Garcia saying, our goal is to bring together all, he says citizens, I would take an issue with that phrase, but I sincerely think that it really comes down to class. And although there are candidates and officials and all these politicians who say they would like to represent everybody, I don't think that that's actually true. And I think that we should be actually honest about where those class divisions lie.
Thank you. Mr. Ochoa.
Yes, so I think this is a great question, actually. For the future of the city of Edinburg, growth at all costs is not really the mindset. We've had a lot of growth over the course of the last couple of decades, but this has, by and large, benefited the city by having an increased tax base that allows them to provide more services and to have more representation at the county, state, and federal level. But going forward, if we are going to have areas of Edinburg that are falling behind, we need to have incentive programs to have development in those areas as well. On the east side of Edinburg, for example, east 107, that is a corridor that I think is prime for a lot of development, and a lot of residents in those areas have felt overlooked. If you look at what's happening right now on Rural Longoria with the Vaquero Stadium, there's a new plaza that's coming online. There's multifamily units coming in there as well. I think a lot of that's going to drive growth all on the east side of Edinburg. And to the extent that EEDC and the city can provide incentives to developers to do that on the east side, I think is important. In addition, we need to look at ways to increase amenities in other parts of Edinburg as well. Redoing our park land fees and how those are distributed so that we make sure we're building parks in all parts of Edinburg, not just the parts that are being developed.
Thank you. You were mentioned, Mr. Garcia. Would you like to rebuttal? All right, let's move over to the next question. This is with regional identity. As Edinburg continues to grow, how should the city define its role as a regional partner or as a leader setting a new standard for the Rio Grande Valley? Well, Mr. Ochoa.
We should be setting a new standard. The city of Edinburg is primed to be the economic driver of the Rio Grande Valley, and we need to push forward with those ambitious, visionary goals. Now, there's going to be some issues that we're going to need regional partners on, for sure. Drainage is a big one. Water is a big one. Animal control, believe it or not, is a big one that's going to need a regional issue as well. But the city of Edinburg has UTRGV. It's the county seat. It's got two major healthcare systems along with Driscoll Hospital. We should be in the leadership to push our county forward because if we don't do it, right, then we are going to miss out on the opportunity that's available to us now to make sure that Edinburg is improving the quality of life for all residents. So the city of Edinburg, being in a leadership position, requires to have leaders with vision and with ambition to really drive these plans forward.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia.
Sure. I believe that we are one of the leaders that need to take a major role in the development of our whole region. I had the privilege of serving on the Rio Grande Valley Development Council with, among other mayors and city leaders when I served on the city council. And it's important that we continue to grow as a region, but we are the driving force behind it, being the fact that we are the gateway to the Rio Grande Valley. And of course, we have the University City in our city with the county courthouse as well, and and the three major hospital systems in our area. And so we have many resources that we can show why we are the true leaders of the city and this community as a region.
Thank you. Mr. Salinas.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to describe the city as the gateway. I've always thought of Highway 281 as more of a bottleneck. Again, I think the question of, how can Edinburg lead, the valley and growth and all that, I think, again, it's asked from the point of view of how can, the city help the capitalists in the city profit over the others. That's really the question. And again, I think that's an odd question for people who have to work for a living, people who have to clock in, people who have to wear steel-toe boots to go to work, who have to wear unslip shoes, people who have to clock in into some kiosk or on a computer. And but in terms of history, I think that's actually crucially important. I think that history is something that should be focused more. The city likes to focus a lot on culture, which believe me, it certainly has its place. But I think something that's often forgotten is the history of the Republic of the Rio Grande. This was an actual republic that declared independence just along with Texas, along with California, along with Zacatecas. So just on an interesting historical note, I think that should be studied more. And I'm actually authoring a book about the Republic of the Rio Grande as well as UTRGV. So we'll talk about that later.
Thank you. All right, by 2040, Edinburg's population is projected to grow to around 150,000 residents as the Rio Grande Valley's overall population nearly doubles. How should Edinburg prepare for that growth, particularly in housing, infrastructure, and water scarcity, to ensure that the city can sustain its expansion while maintaining a high quality of life for its residents? Mr. Salinas.
So as I've said before, I think that the question of affordable housing is extremely important. As I said at the other forum, there are, it's interesting, how is it that there are homeless people? And I don't think that's going to be a topic today, but let's just do it for a second. How is it that there are homeless people and so many vacant apartment units? How is that possible? Well, it's possible for the same reason why there's enough food to feed everybody in the world and they're still hungry. It's for that same reason. And so I think when, talking about growth and everything, again, the implicit assumption is asked, well, how are the local capitalists going to have to handle all of these things? And so, it really comes back to the central question, and that's where the priorities are. And we can pretend that we can strike a balance, that we can represent everybody, we can find a way to to stimulate economic growth and this and that, while still providing a quality of life for everybody else. And again, as I mentioned in the previous debate, when we talk about quality of life, well, quality of life for whom? And so again, I think that goes back to priorities and yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Ochoa.
Yes, so I'm sorry, Josh, some of these questions are sounding a little bit redundant. I think we've talked about some of these issues before, but I'll try to add something to it. Like I said, master planning, incredibly important. Who it is that we want to be, where is it we want to go. Specifically on the year 2040, there are currently 2040 committees here in the city of Edinburg that were started under Mayor Garza. And these are vital for citizen input. And I will continue those if elected as mayor, because citizen input in our future is incredibly important. No one person has all the answers. No one person is able to define all of the issues. So it's important that we're listening to all residents. But we need to take a look at these committees, make sure that they are still active, make sure that they are doing what was asked of them to do, which is to provide that vital input. And then to the extent we need to create more committees, we should do that as well. The citizens of Edinburg, as I've said before, it's a very engaged community. The citizens of Edinburg vote in a higher propensity relative to the other cities here in Edinburg. So citizen input, participation, all of these are vitally important to know where we want to be by 2040 and beyond.
All right, Mr. Garcia.
Sure. I think it's very important in our quality of life that we continue to work with our partners in our city, our stakeholders, our developers, our investors, our public housing, and of course our private sectors. But, it is very important to continue to have our community engaged with the city government. And we do have a lot of committees that are out there, but many times they're handpicked. And the thing is that we need the community to want to be involved and say, I'd like to serve in this committee because I bring expertise to that field. And I think if we continue to engage our community to feel that they are something bigger than just a resident and that they actually are making a difference, is how we can continue to improve the quality of life for everyone.
Thank you. All right, if elected, what will your first 100 days in office look like? Well, Mr. Garcia.
If and when elected as mayor, I think one of the first things that will need to take place is that we'll have to actually sit down with our city management, our city secretary, and other department heads to really look at what the issues have been taking place in the last 4 years. Where do we need to do the improvements immediately, especially the ones that are short-term goals, so that, number one, the residents can see that a change is being taking place, that is not the same old things. That we are looking at what the concerns of the citizens were, that we listen to their needs, and to continue to push it forward, but more importantly, to work together. I've told everybody we sit in a council manager government style forum, and it's important that we just all work together to make the city grow together.
Thank you. Mr. Salinas.
Yeah, so it would be an expose. Let's open the books. Let's see how who gets what contracts are really decided. Let's go ahead and see what kind of undercover police programs are out there. I'd expose how exactly it's chosen, how it's decided. Who gets drainage, who gets the paved roads. Again, it's a question of class. If you're driving down anywhere near the Robert and Janet Thacker Stadium, man, you could skate on there, you could roller skate. You can't do that in other parts of Edinburgh. You can't do that behind the Shipley's Donut on 107. You can't do that easily in the neighborhood where I live. So I'd expose how these things are actually done, and the key word is open the books and fight as best as I could to stop these executive sessions, because that's where the real decisions, that's where the real conversations are had.
10 seconds.
I'll abolish that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ochoa.
Well, let me start that answer by saying what I won't do. I will not come in as mayor and create chaos. I am not looking to come in and exact revenge on my enemies. I am not looking to come in to take any dismissive action of employees right off the bat. I am coming in to be a uniter. Our community needs to be united for us to move forward the way that we know that we can. So for me, the first 100 days are all about talking priorities, meeting with every single department, one-on-one, finding out what are their priorities and working with them to make sure that they align with the community interests, not any personal self-interests. It's having discussions with all of the boards and the councils, with the Planning and Zoning Committee, with the Zoning Board of Adjustments, making sure that they understand that we are here to enforce rules and regulations, to make sure the developers are keeping up with the codes, and that we are here to make sure that there is an even playing field for everybody. It's making sure that we have anti-corruption training for the city council and for all city employees, so that when people are doing something wrong, they can't say later on, oh, I didn't know that that was illegal when I was doing it. So setting these tones, setting these priorities, making sure that everybody knows this is not politics as usual. This is evaluating how the city is operating and doing it in a way that works for the community and is future forward oriented.
Thank you. All right, let's move over to the community question. In recent years, Edinburg's leadership has taken positions on issues some view as political or religious in nature. How should city leadership handle sensitive or divisive national issues in the future? And do you believe the focus of local government should remain strictly on community needs like safety, infrastructure, and economic opportunity? Well, Mr. Salinas.
Yeah, so, I'm not entirely sure like what specific things people had in mind. The people who I said, I sort of wish they, could have provided some examples. But on the religious point, I absolutely think that there should be more secularism in the city. There shouldn't be in God we trust on the police vehicles. There shouldn't be a prayer at the opening of City Hall. The great thing about this great republic is that it was founded on secularism. The great thing about this great republic is that it was the first nation, the first country that was not founded on God, but on explicitly limiting the power of the church. And as President Jefferson said, to erect a wall of separation between the church and the state. He actually was writing to the Congregationalists of Danbury, Connecticut, but it was not the atheists who were persecuting them. It was another Christian denomination. So you can see how much these different denominations love each other. In terms of other topics, other sensitive topics, I'm not entirely sure what they had in mind. I would be happy to respond here to any specific other ones. But I am particular. I'm not afraid to shy away against some of those more international questions. I think that there should be solidarity with Cuba, that there should be solidarity with Havana, and that we should try to establish international ties and oppose the blockade on Cuba, the only socialist revolution to succeed in this century.
All right, Mr. Garcia.
Sure. First of all, I think that we need to keep religion separate from government duties, but at the same time, there are certain sensitive issues that come before the council that I think that we have to dissect each issue one at a time and see what the advantages and the disadvantages are. Of course, getting the advice from our legal counsel, and of course, having input of the rest of the council members. But it's not an I decision. It's a decision that needs to be done as a city, and everything that we do should always put the citizens first.
Thank you. Mr. Ochoa.
Local government is the front line to our everyday lives. We are working on basic issues here at the city of Edinburg: streets, drainage, safety, police, fire, parks, libraries. These are what our families experience on a daily basis. And so for the city government to focus on your daily lives is paramount. Again, as I said earlier, literally everything the city does spends your taxpayer money. Whether that's as small as sending out a press release from the mayor's office to as large as taking on a drainage project, we need to make sure that we have the community's interest in mind. Anybody that's gonna move forward with a personal interest, with a personal vendetta, with a personal agenda, that is not having the community's best interests in mind. We are all here to service our community, to make sure that we don't leave anybody behind, that we are unified, working together for all of the interests. Because if we don't do that, right, then we are going to lose a lot of these services that so many people here in the city of Edinburg depend on. It comes down to families, and it comes down to making sure that the residents are heard and that the city government responds to the residents' desires, not to their own personal agendas.
Thank you. All right, thank you, candidates. We covered a lot of ground tonight, from infrastructure to growth to transparency, public safety, and the future of our city. Now for the final question. You each have 2 minutes. Share any closing thoughts you'd like to leave with the people of Edinburg, those here in attendance, and also those watching online. This is your opportunity to speak directly to the voters about your vision, your values, and why you believe you're the right person to lead Edinburg forward. Start with Mr. Garcia.
First of all, Josh, thank you for putting this together. I think it's a great event, but I would just want to say that I've told everybody from the very beginning, I am not a politician. I am a public servant. I've served the community for over 30 years. I've always been accessible to everybody. Everybody knows that I'm just a phone call away. Even now that I've been out of office for 2 years, I continue to get daily calls from our residents asking for assistance, asking for direction, asking for guidance. And that's what it's all about. It's about being accessible to everybody, not just a few. It's about going out there and making a difference every single day. I've been serving our community again for 30 years. I didn't start 9 months ago. I didn't start 4 years ago. I've been doing this for 30 years. I love our city. It's all about giving back to our city. My parents, my mom always taught us it's better to serve than to be served upon. And so I'm here to continue to serve the city. I want to remind everybody that elections, early voting starts on Monday, October the 20th to October the 31st. Election day is November the 4th. It's a very important election because it is an open seat for mayor. I am number 1 on the ballot, and I just kindly ask for everybody's support and prayers so we can continue to move the city forward where it needs to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ochoa.
Edinburg is on the cusp of something really special. We are doing so great, and there's so much in front of us. But we have to have leaders with vision, with ambition, and with the community's best interests in mind. We have seen examples in the past of that not happening. 4 years ago, when Mr. Molina, who I wish was here, we were in a city on the brink of chaos like none other in our recent period. We had 5 city managers in a 4-year period. We had 3 finance directors in that same time period. We had dozens of lawsuits by city employees. We had headlines locally and nationally that none of us were proud of. In that same time period, when Mr. Molina was mayor, we were in financial distress. We had the highest tax rate that we had been paying in decades. We had almost $200 million in loans taken in a 4-year period. Our reserves had dwindled down to their lowest level in decades. And our credit score had been downgraded for the first time in the city's history. And all of this is public information. It can be seen on the city's website in the certified annual financial reports. It's all there to be analyzed. Edinburg, I said this before in the last debate, I'll say it again because it's an important point. They say that insanity is doing the same thing over again and expecting a different result. Edinburg, I urge you to do the right thing in this election, and let's end the insanity once and for all. Let's look forward, not backward. Let's have plans for the future. If you are listening closely to everybody in this debate, I am offering real plans, real solutions. And you deserve to have a leader that's going to do that, so that you can comment on that leader's plans, so that you can weigh in. A leader needs to be here in front of you, ready to take that criticism, ready to hear what it is that you have to say. Real leaders listen. They're not just chanting, I. It's about we. It's about us. It's about our. And if you believe in this vision, Edinburg, of a better future, of forward thinking, of ambition, of energy, then I urge you, join us in this campaign, and let's all move Edinburg forward together.
Thank you. Mr. Salinas.
It has been such a transformative, such a life-changing experience to embark on this campaign. It's really the first working class candidacy that anybody can recall. Anytime I talk to people and tell them what this campaign is about, and I'm only campaigning amongst working class people, I don't want endorsements from high places. The expression on their faces change. You see something real. Probably the most impactful thing for me was just yesterday. My neighbors' kids, they came up and said hi to me. They're like, oh, well, they said, oh, hi, Jonathan. They're not citizens. They're immigrants. And he said, oh, you'd like to be on government day. You can do it. You can do it. And so it has been such a pleasure and such a transformative experience to see that expression on people's faces. I had some questions myself about coming out tonight. I probably had addressed quite a few questions before, but I would like to thank my coworkers from Teleperformance who are here today, Zach, my good friend Maui, and my brand new comrade, Ramiro Flores, who is out here today, who implored me to be here tonight. And so I think really the true difference, as I said before, is, the other candidates represent a certain class point of view, and I am the option for the working class of and by it as well. And again, I'm not saying that, I have this master plan, that I've got all the solutions and I've got all these answers. My campaign has been about organizing and uniting the working class together, because that's really how things are going to change. It's not really at the ballot box, but it's going to be with us coming together. So it's we, not me. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you all very much. Thank you all for watching online. I believe I'll stick around and take some photos. Yes. Thank you all so much for coming by tonight. We appreciate everyone. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Renee, for hosting us. Appreciate it.